Chapter 416. Genius 1, Second Remember Love, /go/little. I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Watching the spatial cracks slowly close, Night Sorrow was stunned for a long time. He was shocked. Was this the method of a powerhouse? If the soul was not destroyed, it could be reincarnated. Dark Soul Saint. Night Sorrow remembered this name. He also knew that this was once a peerless powerhouse. Night Sorrow calmed himself down. He steered Tianyu toward the place where he had encountered the dark dragon snake and continued to search for the resources left behind by the Dark Soul Saint. The Dark Soul Saint's storage ring was ridiculously large. The resources were also very rich. There were hundreds of high-grade crystals, ores, and alchemy materials. In the middle of the storage ring, Night Sorrow saw a table with 2 ancient books on it. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and took out the ancient books. The first book was the Dark Soul Saint's Inheritance, the Death Secret Codex, and the other was the Battle Skill Soul Extinguishing Slash. Seeing these 3 words, Night Sorrow was shocked. The Dark Soul Saint had said that his opponent should have been hit by his Soul Extinguishing Slash and died in this space. M+% version HV, first 7. Flipping open the ancient book, Night Sorrow's hands couldn't help but tremble. The Soul Extinguishing Slash was not a true energy battle skill, but a soul battle skill. Night Sorrow had never heard of a soul battle skill. Night Sorrow didn't need a true energy battle skill now, because he had mastered enough battle skills. He just needed to continue cultivating and increasing his maturity. However, he needed a soul battle skill. He had never heard of anyone who had mastered it. Love, go/little, say/little, chew. After taking a look, Night Sorrow closed the ancient book. The Soul Extinguishing Slash was aimed at the enemy's Spirit Sea. It specialized in attacking the soul, but the requirements were harsh. It required the soul to be in a liquid state. However, Night Sorrow's soul was still in a gaseous state, so he couldn't cultivate it. He steered Tianyu back to the place where he had encountered the dark dragon snake. However, Night Sorrow didn't see anyone because Ho Jian and the Bloodstrike guards had retreated to the spatial passage. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and decided to follow the Dark Soul Saint's instructions and find the life saint he had killed. Night Sorrow followed the Dark Soul Saint's instructions and headed east. Night Sorrow was looking forward to what the life saint had left behind. Night Sorrow steered Tianyu towards the east. Night Sorrow saw many darkness demons along the way, including rank 5 ones. However, they weren't as fast as the Tianyu and were left far behind. Night Sorrow searched for 3 days in the area the Dark Soul Saint had pointed out, but he still didn't find anything. Baidu search, AI go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. So Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. He didn't have a time limit this time, so he could slowly search. Night Sorrow slowly expanded his search area. On the 5th day, Night Sorrow discovered a special area thousands of miles away from the valley where the Dark Soul Saint had fallen. It was overflowing with greenery, clearly different from other areas. After putting away Tianyu, Night Sorrow headed forward to investigate. The situation in this area was a bit special. There weren't any dark creatures here, and the demon beast had turned into ordinary demon beasts. However, they were all very strong. After walking for a while, Night Sorrow had already killed 2 early-stage 5th-rank demon beasts. Night Sorrow then arrived in front of a very shallow pool. There was a mountain rock in the middle of the pool, and a female corpse in a green dress was sitting cross-legged on the mountain rock. There were many green energy crystals in the pool below her, but there weren't any soul crystals like Night Sorrow had found beside the Dark Soul Saint's corpse. This made Night Sorrow feel a bit strange. Night Sorrow walked around the pool and found that there was a dense life force aura here. Moreover, it didn't seem to have any intention of spreading, but was condensed together. It could be said that the water in the pool was filled with spirit chi. There was a green liquid in the middle of a rock that was exposed above the water surface. It was life spirit liquid. After investigating for a while, Night Sorrow didn't find anything strange. He reached out and touched the green energy crystal in the pool. Bang! Night Sorrow felt his hand touch an energy wall, and a strong, rebounding force sent him flying. Holding onto the ground, Night Sorrow stood up. At this moment, the head of the female corpse on the mountain rock in the pool began to glow. Then, an oval-shaped crystal rose from the top of her head, and an energy halo flashed. In the blink of an eye, a female energy body in a green dress appeared in Night Sorrow's line of sight. Night Sorrow took a step back, and his right hand touched the reincarnation spear. He found that this female's energy body was much more condensed than the Dark Soul Saint's. Void attribute. It's actually the void attribute. Is this an opportunity? The female energy body in a green dress sized up Night Sorrow and muttered to herself. "Who are you?" Night Sorrow opened his mouth and asked. "I sealed this place, sealed myself, and waited for the day when a furnace with a pure soul would appear. You just entered the rank 5, but your soul power is not weak." "Very good," the female energy body in a green dress said. "What do you mean?" Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. The way the female looked at him was as if she was looking at a prey, a treasure. "I'll explain it to you. I was injured in a battle in the past, and in order to protect my soul source, I gave up my physical body. At the same time, I sealed the energy here so that it wouldn't spread. I was waiting for a suitable furnace to appear. I can use the furnace to recultivate. Do you understand?" The female's eyes flashed as she checked on Night Sorrow's situation. "You mean to take over my soul, but you have to know that I don't have the life attribute. If you take over my body, your attributes won't match. You won't have great achievements. Furthermore, I'm a man." Night Sorrow understood the Dark Soul Saint's words. This female was really cunning, and her methods were also very vile. "Attributes won't match? You won't have great achievements? Then you're gravely mistaken. What I care about is the purity of your soul. Everything else isn't important. As for your attributes, if you were an ordinary attribute, I would use the life attribute to crush you. You have the sovereign level void attribute. This is exactly what I want. In the future, it will be much easier for me to reach the great Tao." The female in a green dress left the pool and approached Night Sorrow. "But I'm a man." Night Sorrow's body trembled as he tried to break free. If there was any danger, he would activate the seal-breaking bead. "A man is even better. I don't like men, I like women. In the past, I kept beautiful women in my mansion. After I take over your body, I won't need a fake phoenix." The female's words were filled with excitement. "Scram, you stay away from me." Night Sorrow's expression changed. This female was too abnormal. Not only was she abnormally strong, but her mentality was also somewhat twisted. "Your body is very strong. It has reached the level of essence chi smoke. I like it. In the future, I can use this body to roam the world. Don't struggle. The seal-breaking bead is useless." The female reached out and tore apart Night Sorrow's robes. She then grabbed the seal-breaking bead from Night Sorrow's chest. Night Sorrow was helpless. This female's thoughts were meticulous. She had actually discovered the unstable element in his body. At this time, Night Sorrow carefully connected with his storage ring. He planned to seize the opportunity to take out Wu Lingfei's soul orb and activate it. If he rashly took it out now, it would be easily taken away by this female. "Don't think about it. You won't have a chance." After saying this, the female's body trembled and turned into a ball of light. She pounced towards Night Sorrow's head and began to take over his body. Night Sorrow didn't have the ability to resist. He could only let out a roar. Night Sorrow's roar was mixed with the female's scream. Chapter 417. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. When the energy body of the green-dressed woman entered Night Sorrow's head and touched his spirit sea, the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness in Night Sorrow's spirit sea moved. With a quick rotation, the woman's energy body was pushed out of Night Sorrow's spirit sea. This was not the end. The purple heavenly fate pearl of nothingness quickly rotated in Night Sorrow's spirit sea. A vast amount of nothingness energy passed through Night Sorrow's forehead and wrapped around the green-dressed woman's energy body. The woman's miserable screams kept coming out. The energy of the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness was crushing and grinding her, constantly depleting her energy. At this moment, Night Sorrow could move. Being attacked by the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness, the woman's spatial imprisonment was no longer effective. Quickly take it back. Why do you have the nothingness origin? Quickly take it back. The woman kept screaming. Translator, Sigma editor, Sigma editor, Sigma. Heaven's sins can be forgiven, but the sins brought on by oneself are the hardest to bear. Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and directly unleashed his most powerful spear attack. He stabbed towards the life origin in the woman's head. That was the source of her energy. The energy of the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness did not stop Night Sorrow's attack. Thus, Night Sorrow's spear heavily bombarded the woman's life origin pearl. Following Night Sorrow's attack, the woman let out a heart-wrenching scream. Her divine sense was attached to the life origin pearl of nothingness. Thus, she was fatally injured by Night Sorrow's attack. Following that, Night Sorrow violently attacked the woman's life origin pearl of nothingness. When Night Sorrow's fourth attack landed on the woman's life origin pearl of nothingness, the woman's energy body dissipated. A fist-sized green pearl fell to the ground. At this moment, the energy of the heavenly fate pearl of nothingness also retracted into Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Yishang stepped forward and picked up the energy bead that the woman in green had given him. He didn't know what it was called. After checking it over and over again to make sure that there were no signs of life and that it wouldn't cause any trouble, Night Sorrow put it into his storage ring. Then, Night Sorrow went to the shallow pond and collected the liquid of life. Then, he took the storage ring from the woman's corpse. The corpse was actually just a skeleton. After putting away the storage ring, Night Sorrow began to fish for life crystals in the shallow pool. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Night Sorrow had fished out more than 400 life spirit stones. This made him extremely excited. These were all very useful. Life crystals were not as extreme as death crystals. Even if it did not help one's cultivation, it was very beneficial to one's body, who did not need the essence of life. After collecting them, Night Sorrow realized that he did not miss anything. He took a bath in the spring water that contained life energy and released Tianyu and Silver Fox. After that, Tianyu and Silver Fox began to play in the shallow pool. After playing for a while, Silver Fox jumped to the shore and stopped moving. His body did not move, but the energy in his body was surging. Breakthrough. Night Sorrow understood that Silver Fox was trying to break through to the core formation stage. Night Sorrow had long felt that Silver Fox should break through. It had been silent at the peak of element gathering stage for a long time. No matter how well prepared it was, there was a limit to it. Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to guard Silver Fox while he sat down cross-legged. He took out the woman's storage ring and began to check it. After checking, Night Sorrow had the urge to curse. The moment Night Sorrow's soul power entered the storage ring, there was a series of explosions in the storage ring. All the resources and materials were blown into pieces. There was a restriction. If the woman's soul power had not entered, everything in the storage ring would have been destroyed. After withdrawing his soul power, Night Sorrow cleaned up the trash inside. The storage ring was big enough and was a rare treasure in itself. Night Sorrow waited for Silver Fox to break through to the next stage by the pool. At the same time, he also practiced. 2 days later, a violent energy vibration came from Silver Fox's body, and then his aura began to rise. When it reached a limit, the tail behind Silver Fox began to vibrate, and then with a change, one tail turned into 4, one of which was relatively short. At this time, Silver Fox had entered the core condensation stage. Nine-tailed Fox. Night Sorrow stood up. He was extremely shocked. Silver Fox had actually activated the nine-tailed Fox bloodline. That was the bloodline of an ancient mutated beast. It was extremely rare in the world, and activating it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, Silver Fox had succeeded. This proved that his future was limitless. Then Silver Fox's breath was still rising. His cultivation kept increasing until he reached the 5th level of the core formation stage. Night Sorrow was shocked. It took him a lot of effort and time to go from the 1st level of the core formation stage to the 5th level. However, Silver Fox completed the breakthrough in a moment. While waiting for Silver Fox to stabilize his cultivation, Night Sorrow began to practice his spear arts. A day later, Silver Fox finished stabilizing his cultivation. He pounced and landed on Night Sorrow. "Not bad. You're too heavy." Night Sorrow smiled and reached out to touch Silver Fox's head. Silver Fox's head rubbed against Night Sorrow's chest. "Silver Fox, you can't appear in front of people in the future. Your four-tails will cause a lot of trouble," Night Sorrow said. A pair of elfin eyes looked at Night Sorrow. Silver Fox's four-tails swayed and then turned into one again. "You can change? That's not bad. You can play outside in the future." Night Sorrow knocked on Silver Fox's head and called Tianyu over. His body fluttered, and he carried Silver Fox on his back. Then, they flew toward the spatial passage. Night Sorrow felt that the Blood Strike guards, Ho Jian, and the others should be waiting at the spatial passage. At that moment, the Blood Strike guards, Ho Jian, and the others were at the spatial passage. They had sent someone back to report. Wu Lingfei closed her eyes and listened to Lei Zheng's report. Then, she waved at Lei Zheng. "My lord, will Night Sorrow be okay?" Qinan asked. "No. I left a trace of origin spirit qi in his body. I can sense his condition. His qi and blood are vigorous. He hasn't suffered any serious injuries," Wu Lingfei said. "That's good. This guy is too worrisome," Qinan said. "Actually, this also means that Night Sorrow's experience in the death space will not be simple," Wu Lingfei said. "I don't quite understand," Qinan said. "Some things can't be explained clearly. I can only give you an example. For example, if 3 people go out to train together, they might not gain anything because the heavenly Tao will not favor 3 people. However, if one person goes out alone, they might suffer a fatal attack or even die. But it's easy to gain something. Do you understand?" Wu Lingfei said. "I don't think Night Sorrow's rise will be a problem. There is no need for him to risk his life in the death space," Qinan said. "That's not wrong. But under such protection, a cultivator who grows up can only become an ordinary master. It's very difficult to become a king who can look down on cultivators of the same level." "I don't think Yishang is willing to be ordinary," said Wu Lingfei. "We understand, my lord." Lei Hua and Qinan bowed. Chapter 418. Genius 1, Second Remember Love, Go/Little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. On a night of rest, Tianyu advanced once again, reaching the late stage of the spirit-severing stage. Night Sorrow was very happy that Tianyu had advanced. If Night Sorrow looked at Silver Fox with doting love, then he looked at Tianyu with brotherly love. Tianyu was a combat partner that he could rely on in life and death. After advancing, Tianyu's speed increased once again. With a flap of his wings, he could travel several kilometers. Night Sorrow quickly returned to the spatial tunnel entrance. When they saw that Night Sorrow was safe and sound, Ho Jian and the others, as well as the Bloodstrike guards, were very happy. Soon after, someone reported the news of Night Sorrow's safe return to the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow couldn't leave. Once he left, he couldn't enter again. After resting at the spatial tunnel entrance for a day, Night Sorrow led a group of people forward to investigate. Along the way, they encountered many dark creatures. However, the Bloodstrike guards, Ho Jian, and the others were all wolves, so they didn't give Night Sorrow a chance to make a move. Tianyu and Silver Fox participated in the battle. Tianyu's strength didn't need to be mentioned. He could also kill rank 5 dark creatures. His combat strength wasn't weak at all. Silver Fox's combat strength was also very strong. His attack strength was average, but speed was his forte. Every time he attacked, he would leave behind afterimages. Opponents who weren't as fast as him had no chance of defeating him. Night Sorrow followed behind. Although he said that he would bring up the rear, all the dark creatures they encountered were killed. Why would he bring up the rear? He just followed behind. Every time they set up camp, Night Sorrow would work hard to cultivate. Now, his cultivation was more complicated. He had to consume origin spirit liquid, hold ice spirit blood essences, and cultivate with spirit crystals in his left and right hands. Fortunately, these three things didn't conflict. Otherwise, Night Sorrow would be a loss. These three things were the foundation for him. He couldn't give up on any of them. The following days were very peaceful. Night Sorrow acted a few times and killed 2 mid-stage rank 5 dark zombies. This made Ho Jian and the others speechless. If they encountered such an opponent, although they wouldn't be instantly killed, they would still have to retreat. On the other hand, Night Sorrow could directly kill his opponent. This was the difference between them. Captain, the current situation is still very stable. It's just that there are a lot of dark creatures. We don't know if we can encounter any powerful dark creatures. After another round of camping, Ho Jian and the others came to Night Sorrow's tent. Xueling also found a place to sit down. Liyue, don't just sit there. Brew a pot of tea. Night Sorrow waved at Nan Liyue. You guys are bullying me. Nan Liyue took out a tea set and started brewing tea. We're very grateful. As for what you said, Ho Jian, we just came in to check out the situation. The powerful dark creatures won't be muddle-headed. Those who should have rushed out have already done so. Those who didn't have the chance to rush out have hidden themselves. It won't be that easy to encounter them, Night Sorrow said. Ho Jian, don't jinx it. If we encounter a venerable rank dark creature, we won't even know how we died. A few days ago, when we encountered the dark serpent, if it wasn't for Captain covering the rear, we wouldn't know how many casualties we would have suffered. Nan Liyue said after pouring tea for everyone. Actually, we're taking a bit of a risk. However, this can't be helped. If we don't solve the root of the problem here, the Eastern Xian region will always be in danger, Night Sorrow said. Ho Jian and the others nodded. They also understood this principle. Let's hope we are lucky. Xueling, we all have protective bracelets. They were given by Tianji Tower. At the critical moment, we can still hold on for a while. So, if anything happens, you take the Bloodstrike brothers and retreat first, Night Sorrow said. Xueling nodded. He was very glad that the Bloodstrike had a responsible captain. Forever and ever, free of charge, said Xueling 7 next. The group continued to move towards the area with dense dark energy. The battle was constantly going on because there were too many dark creatures. Night Sorrow joined the battle again. He didn't want everyone to consume too much energy. There were too many dark creatures. However, most of them were dark beasts. The group didn't find too many dark zombies and corpses. Tianyu and Silver Fox's combat skills were also improving. Silver Fox was the main one. Although Silver Fox didn't get injured in the beginning, it was still difficult for him to take down his opponent. After Night Sorrow's guidance, Silver Fox also learned how to attack the weak points. There were no dark beasts below rank for that he couldn't kill. After moving forward for half a month, the group seemed to have entered a sea of dark beasts. They were constantly being attacked by dark beasts. After moving forward for a while, the group discovered a special situation. There was a dark crack in the sky in the distance. Dense dark energy was pouring into the dark space through the crack. There were also streaks of lightning. Under the spatial crack, there was a towering mountain peak. Under the lightning, Night Sorrow could clearly see a figure sitting cross-legged on the peak, cultivating. Let's retreat. We can't afford to provoke that guy. Retreat quickly. Ride your flying beasts and fly at a low altitude. If we provoke it, we will all die. Night Sorrow anxiously ordered. When the Bloodstrike Guard, Ho Jian, and the others got on their flying beasts and flew at a low altitude, Night Sorrow also summoned Silver Fox to get on Tianyu's back and retreat. After they were 100 miles away, Night Sorrow and the others gathered together. We can't play around in this space. That guy is definitely a venerable, and not just a low-level one, Night Sorrow said. Yes, the energy surrounding it is too terrifying. It can't be bothered to deal with us. Otherwise, we would definitely die. Let's retreat. Ho Jian nodded. We already know the cause of the dark energy in this space. There's no need to stay here. Staying here won't solve the problem. Nan Liyue also agreed with the idea of retreat. With such a terrifying existence, this dark space wasn't something that they could clear. If they couldn't deal with the strongest dark creature, it would be meaningless to get rid of all the ants. Then let's retreat. Night Sorrow nodded. After finding the source of the dark energy, Night Sorrow and the others' mission was considered complete. In addition, Night Sorrow also knew that there wouldn't be any source stones in this space. The energy here was produced by the spatial crack. This space was originally a shattered space. It took them a few days to return to the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow told everyone to wait. He then sent Lei Bao back to report to Lei Hua and Qin Nan. However, the ones who could make the decision now weren't Lei Hua and Qin Nan. The two of them brought Lei Bao to Wu Lingfei's tent. After glancing at Lei Bao, Wu Lingfei nodded, indicating for him to report. Lei Bao then reported the situation they discovered. It's actually the Heaven Vault. Pass this crystal ball to Night Sorrow. Tell him to go to the Heaven Vault again. Tell him that when he reaches the Heaven Vault, he can use his energy to activate this crystal ball. Once the crystal ball lights up, he can return. Most importantly, tell him to carry the soul pearl I gave him earlier with him. Don't keep it in your interspatial ring. If he encounters any danger, activate it. Wu Lingfei took out a crystal ball and tossed it to Lei Bao. After that, she made some arrangements. Chapter 419. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Sir, this will put Night Sorrow in danger. A dark creature like that could kill Night Sorrow with a wave of its hand, Qin Nan said worriedly. It doesn't matter. Many years ago, I had already condensed a soul clone. That soul clone has always been cultivating inside the Void Dao Stone, and my Void Dao Stone is on Night Sorrow's body. However, I told him about the soul crystal, so he doesn't know either. Wu Lingfei said. In other words, if Night Sorrow activates the Void Dao Stone, Master's clone will appear. However, once the soul clone is destroyed, it will cause a lot of damage to Master's original body. Lei was said worriedly. That's true, but it won't be that easy to destroy my clone. A normal soul clone only has 30 to 50% of the strength of the main body. But because of my talent, my soul clone has 70% of the strength of the main body. Wu Lingfei stood up. If the dark creature isn't that strong, Master's clone can sweep through this dark space, Qin Nan said excitedly. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I don't want to use that soul avatar. That soul avatar is at a very critical stage of cultivation. Awakening it now will result in a great loss, Wu Lingfei said. Then let Night Sorrow investigate the situation. Sir, you don't need to use your soul avatar, Qin Nan said. Yes, Qin Nan said. First of all, we have to see if Night Sorrow is in danger. Also, we have to see what level that dark creature is at. If it can't reach the Saint Realm in a short time, we won't be in a hurry to deal with it. If it's close to the Saint Realm, I'll kill it to prevent future trouble, Wu Lingfei said. After Yishan heard Lei Bao's words, he took the crystal ball and placed the spirit orb that Wu Lingfei gave him into his bosom. All of you go back. I'll go there again. Captain, this is too dangerous. How can the higher-ups make such an arrangement? Nan Liyue was a little dissatisfied. Don't worry, we were fine the last time, and we'll be fine this time. So many of us went and didn't attract that guy's attention. It's less risky for me to go alone. All right, you guys go back. Night Sorrow kept Silver Fox into his beast-taming space. After that, he hopped onto Tianyu's back and sped toward the Heaven Vault. Seeing Tianyu's figure disappear into the sky, Hou Jian and Xue Ling led their people out of the spatial tunnel. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were very anxious. They knew that Night Sorrow had set off on a dangerous mission. Qin Nan brought the two of them to Wu Lingfei's tent. Don't worry, I won't harm Night Sorrow. I have no family in this world, and Night Sorrow is the only one. I naturally have a way to protect him, Wu Lingfei said. Many thanks, milady. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu bowed. Forever and ever, I'll be able to read free novels. I call the two of you here to make you feel at ease. Go on. Wu Lingfei waved her hands at the two of them. Night Sorrow took the crystal ball and sped towards the Heaven Vault. There were darkness, demonic beasts blocking his path. Night Sorrow directly got Tianyu to increase his speed and shake them off. Right now, he didn't want to fight. He wanted to complete this mission. In Night Sorrow's heart, he had already weighed the dangers of this mission. He knew that if he wasn't careful, he might die. However, he trusted Wu Lingfei very much. He believed that Wu Lingfei wouldn't harm him. When he thought of this, Night Sorrow took out the soul pearl given to him by Wu Lingfei. He knew that the key to his safety was within this green-colored stone. Staring at this green-colored stone, Night Sorrow suddenly thought of something. He seemed to have a similar stone as well. That was the stone he snatched from Qi Xian in the void, baleful space. After taking it out for comparison, Night Sorrow discovered that it was exactly the same. He planned to ask Wu Lingfei about it after he returned to the Darkness Island. After keeping the green-colored stone, Night Sorrow kept the soul pearl given to him by Wu Lingfei. After that, he glanced at the crystal ball. He knew that this was a memory crystal. As long as energy was activated, it would be able to record some things. Night Sorrow understood that Wu Lingfei and the others were planning to use the memory crystal to investigate the situation in the Heaven Vault. After using 3 days, Night Sorrow arrived near the Heaven Vault. He got Tianyu to land on a dark ancient tree. Night Sorrow held the crystal ball in his right hand and channeled his energy into it. After that, the energy in the crystal ball circulated as the scenes in the surroundings were recorded. Even the silhouette of the person cultivating on the mountain below the crack in the sky could be seen clearly. An instant later, the crystal ball lit up. After that, the image stopped. This was a sign that the recording was completed. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body was restricted. Night Sorrow instantly activated the seal-breaking pearl in his hand, telling Tianyu to flee as fast as he could. If there was a chance to escape, he didn't want to activate the soul pearl given to him by Wu Lingfei. As the seal-breaking pearl was activated, the spatial energy around Night Sorrow became chaotic. Tianyu flapped his wings and flew away rapidly. After that, a series of explosive sounds rang out behind Night Sorrow and Tianyu. Night Sorrow turned his head and stared at the location of the figure in the sky. That figure stood up, but he only casually punched out twice and didn't pursue. After fleeing for 100 miles, Night Sorrow's heart finally calmed down. He knew that this darkness giant treated him like an ant and didn't place him in his eyes. He had no interest in pursuing him. After putting away the crystal ball, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu towards the spatial tunnel. He knew that his mission was complete and there wouldn't be any danger from now on. Without rest, Tianyu had expended a lot of energy. Night Sorrow fed Tianyu Origin's spiritual liquid and returned to the spatial tunnel as fast as he could. At the spatial tunnel entrance, Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the death space. He knew that he wouldn't be able to return. He was helpless in this space restriction. In this space, Night Sorrow had experienced a lot and endured a lot of danger. Night Sorrow respected the Dark Soul Saint. The Dark Soul Saint had died for the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. Moreover, he didn't have any ulterior motives towards Night Sorrow. After meeting the woman in the green dress, Night Sorrow understood one thing. The woman in green could possess someone, and the Dark Soul Saint could tear open space. It wouldn't be difficult for her to possess someone. However, the Dark Soul Saint didn't do that. This was his nature. Of course, neither the Dark Soul Saint nor the woman in green knew that Night Sorrow had the heavenly fate jewel in his spiritual sea. Therefore, the woman in green was unlucky. As the saying goes, if you don't do it, you won't die. After looking at the death space, Night Sorrow walked into the spatial tunnel and returned to the Dark Island. He returned to the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. Seeing Night Sorrow, Lei Hua and Qin Nen were very happy. Not to mention Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, who had been waiting at the tunnel entrance. They looked at Night Sorrow nervously. "It's okay. I'm not hurt. I'll go see the master first. We'll talk about the rest later." Night Sorrow nodded to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and walked towards Wu Lingfei's tent. When he arrived at Wu Lingfei's tent, Night Sorrow took out the crystal ball and handed it to her. Chapter 420. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Wu Lingfei thought for a moment and said, "Don't worry about it. It's still within our control. Later, when I master my cultivation technique, I'll go in and kill it." Ani Fei. The problem now is that those of us who are above rank 5 cannot enter. Night Sorrow said, "You don't have to worry about this. Aunt Fei has a way." Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. "I have a piece of, or can Ani Fei help me appraise it?" Night Sorrow asked. At this time, Lei Hua and Qin Nin nodded towards Wu Lingfei and left. They understood Wu Lingfei's method, which was to let someone bring the phantom Dao stone containing her soul avatar into the death space. The spatial passageway could block the beast-taming crystal and the like, but the void Dao stone was rather special. It could isolate all energy and also isolate detection. Let Aunt Fei see. Wu Lingfei took off her veil because there was no need to do so in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out his green ore and gave it to Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei took the cyan ore and flicked her finger casually, removing some of the impurities on the edge of the cyan ore. "I didn't expect you to have this. You must have noticed that this ore is made of the same material as the spirit orb I gave you." Baidu search, love, go, shall say, www.aichux.com. Yes, I feel that even if it's not the same, it will be close. Night Sorrow nodded. This thing is called the Void Dao Stone. It is extremely valuable. Although it is not as valuable as the Origin Stone, at certain times, its existence is even more important than the Origin Stone. Put it away. Wu Lingfei threw the Void Dao Stone to Night Sorrow. Then this. Night Sorrow took out the Phantom Dao Stone that contained Wu Lingfei's soul clone and asked, "Can you look at Chapter T$ on the F version 7? I'll leave it with you for now. It'll be a life-saving talisman for you," Wu Lingfei said. She didn't want to talk too much with Night Sorrow. With Night Sorrow's current level, knowing too much would only increase the pressure on him. Furthermore, she didn't want her soul avatar to become Night Sorrow's support. There was a great terror between life and death, and only by crossing the limit could one surpass oneself. If Night Sorrow knew the secret of the Void Dao Stone and the Soul Clone, then he would lose the training effect. I also obtained some things. Ani Fei, can you help me take a look? Night Sorrow took out the energy bead left behind by the green-clothed woman after she died. Saint Crystals. You actually obtained a Saint Crystal? That's a Saint Yuan Spirit Orb. It has the same properties as in Source Stone, but it's lower. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow in surprise because this thing was too rare. Afterwards, Wu Lingfei explained the situation to Night Sorrow. When a cultivator entered the honorable realm, they had to reach the unity of heaven and man realm. This was a realm that could be reached as long as one's soul spirit energy was high enough. However, it was very difficult for an honorable to enter the saint realm. Even if one's talent was heaven-defying, if one didn't have the opportunity, they wouldn't have the chance. This was related to the laws of heaven and earth. If one wanted to enter the saint realm, they had to control the laws of heaven and earth. There were two ways to control the laws of heaven and earth. One of them was to have in Source Stone to analyze and control the laws of heaven and earth, and the other way was to obtain a Saint Crystal from a fallen saint. This was because Saint Crystals also contain the laws of heaven and earth. Refining a Saint Crystal would give one a chance to enter the saint realm. Hearing Wu Lingfei's words, Night Sorrow felt a bit conflicted because this Saint Crystal was very important. Wu Lingfei might need it, but Sikong Chiyu was of the water attribute, so he might need it in the future. Night Sorrow thought about it, and felt that Sikong Chiyu was only at the 5th stage, so he was still a distance away from the honorable realm, let alone the saint realm. However, Wu Lingfei might need it soon. Ani Fei, take it and use it, Night Sorrow said. It's not suitable. You might not know this, but Source Stones can be used as reference and can be used without any harm. However, this Saint Crystal will be gone once it's used, Wu Lingfei said. That's not important. I'm out of the life attribute, so I don't need it. Chu Yu is of the water attribute, and might evolve into the life attribute in the future, but at that time, I might be able to obtain other treasures, Night Sorrow directly explained. All right, Ani Fei indeed needs this. After knowing you and borrowing your fate, Ani Fei's strength will greatly increase. Wu Ling Fei didn't hesitate and put away the life Saint Crystal. Following this, the two of them sat down and Yishan told him about what had happened in the Death Dimension. He didn't hide anything, but he left out the part where the woman in green had been injured by the Nihility Fate Orb and didn't mention it. She wouldn't have died if she didn't seek it. She wanted to take over your body and cause her to fall. She deserved it. However, that Dark Soul Saint is worthy of respect, Wu Lingfei said. Originally, I planned to give the Death Crystal to Tianji Tower in exchange for some resources, but I think it's better to keep it and give it to his successor in the future. This way, I won't feel guilty. Night Sorrow stated his decision. That's a good idea. Aunt Fei supports you. With Death Crystals, Death Attribute cultivators will be able to grow much faster. That way, you'll be able to leave behind some kinship for him. Wu Lingfei nodded in satisfaction. She really appreciated Yi Shan's magnanimity. There are also life crystals. Ani Fei leaves some behind. Night Sorrow directly took out a small pile of life crystals. Night Sorrow, how can Ani Fei endure this? Wu Lingfei said with a bitter smile. Ani Fei, just take it. Night Sorrow said. He took out a third of it and kept the rest. He felt that it would be enough even if Sikong Chiyu needed it in the future. All right. Also, there is something else I need to tell you. A lot of dark creatures have appeared at the other exit of the death space. They have already broken through Jianghai City's defenses and are heading towards Starcloud's Sex territory. Dongxian City must take action in this matter. We have already sent several teams of Black Iron Guards over. Take 30 Bloodstrike Guards with you and go take a look, Wu Lingfei said. Okay, I will go back and prepare. Night Sorrow nodded. Let Commander Qin take you there. You are currently the captain of the Bloodstrike Guards. You only need to be responsible for Commander Qin. You don't need to care about the others, Wu Lingfei said. Ani Fei, Tianji Tower is fine. I am worried that there will be more disputes in the City Lord's mansion. I don't want to be involved in their disputes. I also don't want to see those power struggles and schemes, Night Sorrow said. They won't. There are only 2 people in charge of the Bloodstrike Guards. Commander Qin is in charge of your side. If there are any blind people, just take out Ani Fei's token, Wu Lingfei said. Okay, Ani Fei, are you still going to stay here? Night Sorrow asked. Later, Ani Fei will set up a formation here and then return to Dongxian City. When the time is right, Ani Fei will come back to clean up this place. Also, some of the things you experienced are too shocking. It's best if you don't tell others. It will only cause panic, Wu Lingfei said. Chapter 421. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After entering the 5th rank of the Void Inquiry stage, you can cultivate your innate bloodline technique. This is very important to you. Wu Lingfei signaled Night Sorrow to sit down. Aunt Fei, I've already cultivated it. The effect is not bad. Night Sorrow said. The effect is not bad? What do you mean by the effect is not bad? Let's go somewhere else. You can try it for me. Wu Lingfei took out a golden mask and put it on. Then she brought Night Sorrow out of the tent. She waved her hand and wrapped Night Sorrow with her energy before bringing him to the mountain peak where Night Sorrow and the others fought. Try it, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow after releasing the energy binding. Night Sorrow nodded. Then, the 3 innate bloodline energy points under the dragon bone erupted, forming a slash and blasting it towards an ancient tree 20 zhang away. Asterisk hiss, asterisk space, and air were cut apart by Night Sorrow's spatial crack, producing a hissing sound. Then, a hole appeared in the middle of the ancient tree. That's right. This is Night Moon Dynasty's spatial crack. You've cultivated it very well. I didn't expect it to have such power. You have to slowly strengthen the innate bloodline energy points. This spatial crack will become even stronger. Wu Lingfei said, Spatial crystals are scarce. I've talked to the Vice Lord and Chief Protector of the Tianji Tower, to see if they have any spatial crystals. I'll go and exchange them for some. Night Sorrow said, Aunt Faye still has a few pieces here. Take them first. However, don't absorb the energy of the spatial crystals for cultivation. Your innate bloodline is still at the basic stage. It's not good to borrow too much external force. Wu Lingfei took out 3 spatial crystals and said, Aunt Faye, I'll take them then. Night Sorrow said with a smile, You don't have to be so polite with Aunt Faye. Your soul power already has a foundation. You don't have to worry about soul defense. However, the improvement of your soul power can't be sloppy. It's more important than the improvement of your true qi. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. Ani Fei, I still have soul crystals, Night Sorrow said. I know you have a lot of treasures. Keep them for yourself. Aunt Fei is at a bottleneck now. Some resources are useless, Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei, why don't you take the water origin stone and study it again? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, he felt that Wu Lingfei needed source stones more than Sikong Chuyu. That's not the case. If we use the water element as the foundation to break through, Ani Fei can easily do it. But Ani Fei doesn't want to be an ordinary cultivator. If I want to be a strong cultivator who despises everything, said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that Wu Lingfei was someone with great ambitions and was unwilling to be ordinary. I wanted to teach you the Xian Jade Slash, but you don't need it since you already have the spatial crack. Don't bite off more than you can chew, Wu Lingfei said. Then, Wu Lingfei brought Night Sorrow back to the camp. Go and prepare. As for the 4 people in Tianji Tower, let them decide what to do. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to his tent. You rascal, isn't one day enough for you? How's it going? Yang Lei grumbled to Yi Shang, her heart aching. It's done. We don't have anything else to do here. However, I might have to take the Bloodstrike guards to the Nebulous Sect to clean up the dark creatures. This time, you guys can come with me. Everyone's cultivation is the same, so there won't be any restrictions, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's good. This way, we'll feel more at ease. We don't want to see you take risks and be anxious, Sikong Chuyu said. Then, Night Sorrow called Ho Jian and the others to ask for their opinions. In the end, their opinions were unanimous. They were all willing to follow Night Sorrow into battle. That's good. You guys go and rest. Listen to the orders later, Night Sorrow said to Ho Jian and the others. Ho Jian and the others nodded and left. They knew that Night Sorrow had just returned and had a lot to say to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Yi Shan gave 2 bottles of life spirit fluid to the 2 women and some soul crystals to the others. 13. Your luck is heaven-defying. As long as you go out to train, you'll always be able to bring back some top-grade resources. These are things that others can't even dream of, but you've already gotten them, Yang Lei said as she hugged Night Sorrow's shoulder. Yi Shang only smiled. He had only taken out a portion, just enough for the 2 women to use. He didn't say exactly how many resources there were. Once he did, it would implicate a lot. As for the matter of the Dark Spirit Saint and Life Saintess, Yi Shang didn't want to tell the 2 women. Night Sorrow felt very relaxed when he was with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. At night, Qi Nan came and told Night Sorrow to rest well. Tomorrow, she would bring them back to Waterfront City. When Night Sorrow was about to meet the Blood Robe Guards, Qi Nan told him that the Blood Robe Guards had already sailed out to Waterfront City to wait for them. At night, Night Sorrow didn't cultivate. He just rested on the bed Yang Lei made for him. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu sat in the tent to accompany him. After dawn, Night Sorrow planned to bid farewell to Wu Lingfei. However, he discovered that Wu Lingfei had left the Dark Island after setting up an array in the pit last night. Qi Nan then wrapped Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu, and Ho Jian with energy and set off for Waterfront City. It didn't take long for Qi Nan to cover a distance of a few thousand miles with her rapid flight. Soon, the group arrived at the City Lord's mansion. In the backyard, Night Sorrow saw 30 blood-robed guards ready to set off. Everyone is here. Let's take the teleportation array and set off directly to the headquarters of the Star Cloud sect, Star Cloud City, said Qi Nan. Night Sorrow and the others nodded. Fighting in the Eastern Xian region's territory made Knight Sorrow excited. He didn't feel any pressure. Under Qi Nan's lead, the group quickly teleported to the Star Cloud sect. In Star Cloud City, Knight Sorrow and the others saw the busy side of the city. Many cultivators rode demonic beasts out of the city in teams. There were also riding teams whistling through the air. "Get on your mounts. We're going to Broken Cloud Mountain," said Qi Nan. Following Qi Nan's words, everyone released their flying mounts. Qi Nan's body flashed, and she landed on the back of Knight Sorrow's Tianyu. Tianyu, who originally wanted to resist, continued flying after Knight Sorrow communicated with him. This time, the Star Cloud sect is in a miserable state. One of their two supremacies died in battle, while the other was defeated and severely injured. Their foundation was destroyed. The Star Cloud sect is only a superpower now, but its strength is not enough to be a superpower, said Qi Nan. Z0 update hashtag new TV coming soon W unspecified currency? The situation is that serious? Asked Knight Sorrow in surprise. Yes. If it weren't for the two elders of the Eastern Xian city, the Star Cloud sect would have become history, said Qi Nan. Qi Nan then told Knight Sorrow the news she received. The supremacies of the dark creatures were very strong. They were level 5 supremacies, dark spiritual corpses. The supremacies of the Star Cloud sect were no match for them. The supremacies who went forward were killed immediately. Chapter 422. Genius 1, second, remember love, divided by little? This is a wonderful novel for you to read. The two elders from Dongxian City had arrived in time and defeated the dark spiritual corpse. However, they hadn't killed it. They had only repelled it and saved the life of the Star Cloud sect's venerable. Killing it is still a problem, Knight Sorrow said. That fellow is smart. When the two elders from Dongxian City arrived, it felt that it couldn't handle them and ran away. It has a way of hiding its aura. It is currently hiding among the dark creatures. As long as it doesn't fight, no one can tell which is its true body, Qi Nan said. This is still a difficult situation to deal with. Knight Sorrow said as he rubbed his forehead. Why do you care so much? You're going to kill the minions and clean up the battlefield. You're going to get rid of the dark creatures, Qi Nan said. The main danger is not being ambushed. If a level 5 venerable ambushes you, you will be killed instantly, Knight Sorrow said. Don't you have protective bracelets? They can withstand 2 attacks from a venerable. That will give us time to rescue you, Qi Nan said. What about the other brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard? Knight Sorrow asked as he turned around and looked at the 30 members of the Bloodstrike Guard. There is nothing we can do about it. However, the Dark Spiritual Corpse is not stupid. Even if it ambushes, it will target people with high combat strength and lethality. Its target is most likely the few of you. Love go little say, Chu, Qi Nan said. When the time comes, arrange for them to stay back. I don't want my brothers to be cannon fodder, Knight Sorrow said. He didn't want to see the brothers who had fought side by side with him fall. Okay, you are the captain. You can arrange the battle as you see fit. In a while, take off your mask. Try not to reveal your identity as a member of Tianji Tower. It doesn't matter if they wear it, but you have a status in the City Lord's mansion. You need to communicate with them, Qi Nan said. She was secretly glad for the members of the Bloodstrike Guard's 5th squad. Knight Sorrow was a captain who knew how to think for his brothers. After half a day, the group finally arrived at Broken Cloud Mountain. Under Qi Nan's lead, they arrived at Dongxian City's camp. This was the camp of the Black Iron Guards of Dongxian City. There were 2 elders of Dongxian City. Upon seeing Qi Nan, the 2 elders of Dongxian City came forward to welcome him. ZWD official Ha version? D plus Y him. B both are CC robbers. Qi Nan was the great commander in the City Lord's mansion. His position was equivalent to that of an elder. Most importantly, Qi Nan was a person with real power. He was the City Lord's confidant. Then, Qi Nan introduced the 2 parties. One of them was Lu Jinyu, and the other was Dai Tianxiang. Knight Sorrow greets Elder Lu and Elder Dai. Knight Sorrow greeted them. We've all heard of your name. You're young and promising. That's not bad, Dai Tianxiang said. Dai Changlao, You flatter me, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, take your men and go set up camp. Elder Dai informed the resource manager that their resources will be distributed according to the best standards, Qin Nan said to Dai Tianxiang. Night Sorrow then led his men to camp. Qin Nan and the two elders went to the largest tent in the middle. Commander Qin, Night Sorrow is young and promising. It would be fine if he were the captain of the Black Iron Guards. Isn't it inappropriate for him to be the captain of the Bloodstrike Guard? Elder Lu said. Lu Jinyu was an elder of Dongxian City. Many of the members of the Bloodstrike Guard had been chosen by him. Therefore, he was worried that Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to lead the Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 well. They fought in the Death Dimension a few times. Under Night Sorrow's leadership, no one was injured. This proves his ability. Most importantly, this is the City Lord's order, Qin Nan said. Dai Tianxiang and Lu Jinyu nodded. They could give suggestions and ideas to Qin Nan, but they could only carry out Wu Lingfei's orders. Night Sorrow drank a pot of tea. After thinking for a moment, he took out his alchemy cauldron and refined some spirit-calming pills to distribute to the Bloodstrike Guard. He hoped that everyone could reach the 5th rank as soon as possible. Night Sorrow's group rested for 3 days before going out to battle. They would fight alongside Dongxian City's Black Iron Guards. The Black Iron Guards were organized into squads of 30 people. Last time at Night Sorrow's residence, Lu Jun and the other two had led 3 squads, so there were nearly 100 people in total. This time, there were 5 squads of Black Iron Guards, as well as Night Sorrow's squad of Bloodstrike Guards. One of the 5 squads of Black Iron Guard was led by Lu Jun. Brother, we're going to fight together this time. Lu Jun waved to Night Sorrow when she saw Night Sorrow. Let's kill the enemy together. Night Sorrow waved to Lu Jun. In addition to Dongxian City's troops, there were also Nebulous Sect's disciples, numbering close to 1,000 people. Currently, Dongxian City's troops and Nebulous Sect's disciples were blocking the dark creatures to the north of Broken Cloud Mountain. As long as the dark creatures attacked, they would fight back and return to Broken Cloud Mountain to set up camp, using it as a defensive line. Dongxian City's troops and Nebulous Sect's troops didn't advance rashly. Before Qin Nan's arrival, Dongxian City's human camp only had 2 venerables. One of them wasn't a match for the Dark Spiritual Corpse, so they didn't dare to advance rashly. Once the Dark Spiritual Corpse attacked, they wouldn't be able to stop it. The Dark Spiritual Corpse was a fatal threat to low-level cultivators. Therefore, Lu Jinyu and Dai Tianxiang could only steadily defend, not allowing the dark creatures to charge over. In addition, there were also people who went to Broken Cloud Mountain to investigate. It was Lei Hua. Kill all the dark creatures that are charging over. Push the battle line 100 miles away. Dai Tianxiang shouted to the people who were going out to battle. Nebulous Sect's strength had been greatly reduced, and its disciples were all under Dongxian City's command. The sect master of Nebulous Sect, Zhao Xingguan, didn't have his own opinion. Everything he did was to follow Dongxian City's orders. Not to mention the crippled Nebulous Sect. Even the Nebulous Sect at its peak had to obey the orders of Dongxian City's City Lord Mansion. Moreover, if Dongxian City's troops weren't here, the Nebulous Sect would have fallen a long time ago. Night Sorrow released Tianyu and Silver Fox. He sheathed the sky-piercing spear at his waist and charged forward with the reincarnation spear. This was because he could already see the dark creatures in his line of sight. The dark creatures were charging towards Dongxian City's human defense line. Remember, no one is allowed to charge in front of me, Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow began to charge forward. The other Black Iron Guards and the Nebulous Sect's troops also began to charge forward. At this moment, Dai Tianxiang, Lu Jinyu, and Qin Nan were floating in the air, observing the battlefield. They wouldn't interfere in a battle between venerables. If human cultivators weren't a match for the dark creatures, it was because their skills were inferior. Venerables disdained to kill low-level dark creatures. This was also a training for Dongxian City's cultivators. Right now, they were paying attention to where the Dark Spirit Corpse was hiding and whether it would attack human cultivators. Chapter 423. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow's group was the fastest. Like a sharp knife, they slaughtered their way into the group of dark creatures. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear. Every time he attacked, he used 5 spears in one. The body of the spear carried vibrating force to block while the spiraling force pierced through the dark creatures. None of the dark creatures below the 5th grade could withstand Night Sorrow's 7-star brilliant moon spear. We have more confidence compared to fighting in the Death Domain. This is the territory of our Eastern Shin region. Kill! Night Sorrow shouted while brandishing his reincarnation spear. Kill! Following Night Sorrow's shout, over 30 people behind Night Sorrow shouted together. How dare you invade our territory? Kill! Night Sorrow shouted while charging forward. Kill! The Bloodrobe guards, Ho Jian, and the others shouted as well. I am invincible. Kill! Night Sorrow roared again after killing a dark liger with a wave of his hand. This battle intent and killing intent. They are on a completely different level compared to the other teams. Dai Tianxiang sighed with emotion. They killed a few times in the Death Domain. This battle is nothing. When they came out of the Death Domain, their clothes were all red. Just think about how intense their battle was. Qinan said. She was the one who trained the Bloodrobe guards. They were her pride. Under Night Sorrow's lead, they fought with vigor. This made her very happy. The group, led by Night Sorrow, charged into the group of dark creatures like a sharp knife. As Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear, the corpses of dark creatures were all around him. Ho Jian and the others were the same. All of them were filled with high battle intent. Captain, be careful. There's a big guy in front. I can't see its cultivation base. Ho Jian reminded Night Sorrow. It's a level 5, 5th grade dark zombie. 13, retreat. Yang Lei's cultivation base was at the peak of the 2nd grade of the Void Inquiry stage. She saw the dark zombie's cultivation base. C8% positive. First post. Why are you retreating? Kill. Yishang's feet trembled as he leaped into the air and charged towards the zombie. Is this guy crazy? Or is your brain muddled from all the killing? Dai Tianxiang, who was floating in the air, said somewhat excitedly. At this moment, Night Sorrow's spear, which was imbued with shock energy, collided with the dark zombie's blade. Bang! With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow's body was pushed back several zhang *3, 33 m per zhang. However, the Void Inquiry stage 5th level dark zombie was also pushed back 20 zhang *3, 33 m per zhang, by Night Sorrow's attack. Night Sorrow roared at the Bloodstrike guards, Ho Jian, and the others before charging at the dark zombies once more. Clean up the battlefield. Night Sorrow, who was using the Soaring Dragon steps, alternated between the energy of the Myriad Dao treasure tome and his true chi. The 3 types of energy release techniques were constantly changing. He began to attack the Void Inquiry stage 5th level zombie with his spear, completely suppressing it. However, because Night Sorrow was attacking in a circle, the dark zombie could not retreat even though its body was trembling from Night Sorrow's attacks and its tattered robes were flying all over the place. At this moment, Ho Jian's group of 4 and the Bloodstrike guards split into groups of 5 and charged in all directions, clearing a battlefield for Night Sorrow so that he would not be disturbed. Night Senior Sister, you guys go and bring up the rear too. Ho Jian looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, who were in a daze, and shouted. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu's eyes were filled with astonishment. They knew that Night Sorrow was very strong, but they did not expect that Night Sorrow had already reached such a level where he could suppress a Void Inquiry stage 5th level zombie. One should know that Night Sorrow had just entered the Void Inquiry stage not long ago. Asterisk bang, asterisk bang, asterisk. The sounds of explosions caused by the collision between Night Sorrow and the dark zombies could be heard continuously. Every time they collided, Night Sorrow would be pushed back. The amount of energy in his body was much lower than that of the dark zombies. Because his body was stronger, even though he would be pushed back every time, Night Sorrow could still pounce on him in an instant and continue attacking with his spear. What? What's going on? Since when can a void inquiry stage expert be so strong? Dai Tianxiang could not believe his own eyes. His mouth was filled with astonishment. Love, go, little, say, W, chew. How can the person appointed by the city lord be weak? Qi Nan's eyes were also filled with astonishment. She knew that Night Sorrow had the ability to fight those with higher levels. However, it was really shocking for him to be able to withstand a Void Inquiry Stage 5th level Dark Zombies head-on, even though he had just entered the Void Inquiry Stage. Night Sorrow felt that it was about time. After a violent spear attack, he activated his innate bloodline secret technique and sent out a spatial crack. The spatial crack's ability to conceal itself was very strong. The Dark Zombie only noticed it when it reached its chest. It then raised its right arm to block the attack. There was no sound of explosions caused by the collision of energy. There was only a crisp sound. The right arm of the Dark Zombie was cut off by Night Sorrow's spatial crack. At this moment, Night Sorrow's spear, which contained vibrating force, was aimed at the Dark Zombie's chest. Since the Dark Zombie had lost its right arm, it could only raise its left arm to block the attack. Buzz the vibrating force on Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear exploded, making a strong vibrating sound. The Dark Zombie's left arm was blown away. However, the true chi on Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was also neutralized. However, Night Sorrow's Myriad Dao Tome unleashed its power. The reincarnation spear, which contained spiraling force, instantly pierced into the area below the Dark Zombie's neck. Night Sorrow swung his arm left and right, cutting off the Dark Zombie's neck along with its head. After cutting off the Dark Zombie's head, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear and sliced its head open. Then, he reached out his left hand and grabbed the Dark Zombie's crystal core. Charge in a triangular formation. Ninth Senior Sister, Chuyu, you two aren't familiar with the coordination of the team. Go to the back first. Night Sorrow gave the order. With a leap, he arrived at the front of the team and became the sharp blade of the team. Then, he continued to charge forward. That's it. With just a Void Inquiry Stage cultivation base, he killed a 5th level Void Inquiry Stage zombie without suffering any casualties. Has the world changed? Lu Jinyu said in surprise. It's definitely not the first time such a battle has taken place. Other than him fighting against the Dark Zombie, the other members of this small team also cooperated very well. There was no chaos at all, and they were very organized. They are too experienced, especially the scene where he grabbed the crystal core. He must have done it many times. That's why he could do it so naturally. Dai Tianxiang said. Night Sorrow's team continued to charge forward. Invincible and unrivaled kill. Night Sorrow roared as he advanced. Kill. Following Night Sorrow's roar, the Blood Robe guards, Ho Jian, and the others also roared angrily. He's too beastly. Lu Jun, who was not far away, muttered in a low voice. Originally, when she saw a 5th level Void Inquiry Stage Dark Zombie appear in Night Sorrow's team, Lu Jun wanted to come over and help. However, the Dark Zombie had already turned into a crystal core. The team led by Night Sorrow was at the front. They also killed the most dark creatures. Behind the small team were densely packed corpses of the dark creatures. The combat boots of Night Sorrow and the others were also dyed red with blood. All of a sudden, Night Sorrow found that he could not move. His body was bound. Retreat. Retreat at full speed. Don't worry about me. Night Sorrow shouted. He knew what was going on. They were being ambushed by the Dark Spirit zombies. Spatial binding was a technique of Venerable Realm experts. Even a peak 5th level expert would not be able to use it. The moment he shouted to retreat, Night Sorrow circulated his true chi and activated the ice silk soft clothes. He did not activate the protection bracelet. He felt that the ice silk soft clothes activated by his 5th level true chi would not have a problem blocking one attack. After all, the protection bracelet was a one-time use item. It would be depleted once it was used. Chapter 424. Genius 1 Second Remember Love, Go, /Little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Bang! With a loud explosion, Yishan's body was sent flying. The silver armor and robes on Yi Soro's body were shattered, leaving behind only the ice silk robes that were emitting light. Because this energy had struck his chest, it did not leave him naked, and it did not make him look too ugly. Night Sorrow spat out a mouthful of blood after being sent flying. However, he also noticed the target of the attack. It was a short and unremarkable dark zombie. After attacking Night Sorrow, its aura changed, and it became a dark spiritual corpse that was 3.5 meters tall. It couldn't hide anymore because the dark creatures around it were all killed by Qin-Nan. Bastard, what kind of sovereign are you? Night Sorrow waved his hand and threw out the sky-piercing spear without ice dragon tendons. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who was still in the air, and the sky-piercing spear, which had just shot out 6 meters, came to a stop. They were once again locked in the air by the dark spirit corpse's spatial imprisonment. Then, the dark zombie attacked Night Sorrow for the second time. Just as Night Sorrow was about to activate his bracelet, Qin-Nan appeared in front of Night Sorrow and attacked the dark zombie. At this moment, Night Sorrow and the sky-piercing spear landed on the ground. Ho Jian and the Bloodstrike guards also arrived behind Night Sorrow. Ho Jian reached out and helped Night Sorrow steady. Nan Liue picked up the sky-piercing spear and handed it to Night Sorrow. Bastard! Shameless! Lei Bao cursed. At the same time, he looked up at the battle between the sovereigns in the air. At this moment, the dark zombie was being suppressed by Qin-Nan. It kept pressing towards the dark creatures. The battle between the human and the zombie was very explosive. Energy splashed everywhere, and many dark creatures were killed by the energy. 13, are you all right? Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu came to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine. Fortunately, I have my treasure clothes. Otherwise, I would have died. Night Sorrow took out a battle robe and put it on. Let go to KVS. You can't be so reckless. That's a dark spiritual corpse, a mid-level venerable. If you can't handle it, you can activate your protective bracelet. Sikong Chuyu said worriedly as she helped Yishang tidy up his clothes. Night Sorrow smiled. Then he looked at the Bloodstrike guards who were fighting in all directions to protect him. Only then did he feel at ease. It's nothing. That bracelet should only be used at a crucial moment. It's to save my life. If it hadn't reached rank 5, Yishang wouldn't have hesitated to activate the bracelet because he knew that this dark spiritual corpse's rank was high. After entering the rank 5 Void Inquiry stage, the defensive effect of the Ice Silkworm soft clothes increased. Night Sorrow wanted to test its strength. Anyway, he knew that Qin-Nan would not give the dark zombie many chances to attack him. At this moment, the dark creatures seemed to have received an order and retreated. At the same time, the humans of the Eastern Xian region also gave the order to retreat. Night Sorrow returned to his tent under the protection of the Bloodstrike guards, Ho Jian and the others. Night Sorrow looked fine. However, after receiving an attack from a rank 5 venerable, his true chi and blood chi were slightly shaken. After returning to his tent, Night Sorrow ate a healing pill and began to heal himself. Dai Tianxiang and Lu Jinyu, who came to visit, did not disturb him. After cultivating for half a day and a night, Night Sorrow felt that he had almost recovered. At this moment, Qin-Nan, Dai Tianxiang, Lu Jinyu, and the sect leader of the Star Cloud sect, Zhao Xingguan, came over. Night Sorrow, are you all right? Qin-Nan asked. I'm fine. It's a pity that the silver soft armor. It's the 3rd set that I broke. Night Sorrow said with a little embarrassment. Don't worry. This is the true value of the silver star soft armor. What's the use of wearing it if it can't protect you? Qin-Nan said. Captain Knight, this is a token of appreciation from the Star Cloud sect. Please accept it. Zhao Xingguan took out a jade bottle and handed it to Night Sorrow. There's no need for this. I'm fighting for the Eastern Xian region. Night Sorrow said. He did not have a good impression of the Star Cloud sect. I'm sorry for what happened in the past. It's a mistake on the part of the Star Cloud sect. This kind of thing will not happen again. I also want to thank Captain Knight for disregarding the past and coming to help us. Zhao Xingguan cupped his fists and said. Zhao Xingguan's attitude was very humble. Firstly, in terms of status, Knight Soro's identity as a law enforcement officer of the Eastern Xian City was not inferior to his. In terms of cultivation base, his late Void Inquiry stage cultivation base was indeed stronger than Knight Soro. However, Knight Soro's potential was huge. If Knight Soro's cultivation base were to increase slightly, he would not be a match for him at all. Knight Soro, let bygones be bygones. The current Star Cloud sect is not worth your attention, Qi Nin said. Her words were very direct, and she did not care about Zhao Xingwan's face. Not to mention the current Star Cloud sect, she did not even care about the Star Cloud sect when it was at its peak. As long as the Star Cloud sect doesn't target the Medicine Valley, I won't say anything. Otherwise, after the war is over, I will still come and settle the score with you. Knight Soro glanced at Zhao Xingwan and said, That won't happen. The Star Cloud sect is not unreasonable. Zhao Xingwan said, Then it's nothing. After all, it's an eventful period. We should focus on how to deal with the dark creatures. Commander Qin, how's the situation on your side? Knight Soro asked. I'm sorry to disappoint you. That creature's strength is ordinary, but it's very good at escaping. Although I've severely injured it, it still managed to escape. Qi Nin said with slight annoyance. Then what's the plan for the next battle? Knight Soro asked. Our men will continue to push forward and kill the dark creatures. At the same time, our venerables will keep an eye on it. If it doesn't appear, then we will continue to hunt it down. If it doesn't appear, then we will eliminate the low-level dark creatures. Qi Nin said, Okay, then let's continue to kill. Knight Soro stood up and said, You don't have to fight today. Recuperate well. Later, I will ask the resource manager to send you the Silver Star soft armor. As long as you wear it, the City Lord Mansion will give you another one. Qi Nin said, I have to fight with them. Otherwise, I won't be at ease. Knight Soro said, That's fine. You can follow, but you can't fight. Qi Nin thought for a moment and said, She knew how Knight Soro felt. She was also a commander. Then, Qi Nin and the others left. Following that, an old man came to give Knight Soro another set of soft armor. With Sikong Chuyu's help, Knight Soro put on the silver armor. Someone will give me the silver armor. After a few more battles, I won't even have a robe to wear. You don't cherish yourself at all. You have to know that you still have the two of us. Besides not having a wedding ceremony, we are no different from your wives. Yang Lei said. Knight Soro nodded. I will pay attention. Actually, I have the confidence to protect myself. If Commander Qin doesn't intercept me in time, I will activate the protective bracelet. Keeping the bracelet is to protect my life in the future. Then, the Eastern Xian region's men gathered again and advanced towards Broken Cloud Mountain. The members of the Bloodstrike Guard, Ho Jian, and the others surrounded Knight Soro. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were responsible for protecting Knight Soro while the others attacked. Knight Soro knew that he would be fine. However, he enjoyed the feeling of being protected by his brothers. Chapter 425. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The battle continued. Knight Soro's team was at the forefront. Although Knight Soro didn't make a move, this team was the strongest in terms of combat power, and their teamwork was also the best. Knight Soro's injuries had not fully healed, but he still had the ability to fight. It was just that his blood energy was not very smooth. Now that he was being protected, he did not really participate in the battle. He only used his soul power to cover the area in front of him. The dark zombies were already very intelligent, not to mention the dark spirit corpse. Its intelligence was no different from a human's because it had already awakened the memories of its previous life. In addition, due to the influence of the death attribute, its personality was even more cunning and sinister. More than 10 teams advanced, leaving behind the corpses of dark creatures. Commander Qin, come quickly. Everyone retreat. Knight Soro shouted and stood at the front of the group. Knight Soro's soul power covered the area in front of him. One of the dark zombies made Knight Soro feel unusual. He was familiar with its aura. Then he remembered that it was the aura of the dark zombie that ambushed him. This was the result of being bombed. Hearing Night Sorrow's roar, Qin Nan flew towards Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow was once again restrained by spatial shackles. F. Update F new W fastest him up /HV retreat. Night Sorrow shouted again. Then, he activated the bracelet on his wrist. He didn't want to add to his injuries, which would make it harder for him to recover. With the stimulation of Night Sorrow's true chi, energy fluctuations appeared on his body, squeezing out the energy binding, turning into an oval-shaped energy shield. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow, who was protected by an energy shield, was sent flying. At this moment, Qin Nan came and started fighting with the Dark Spirit Corpse again. However, the Dark Spirit Zombie did not want to fight Qin Nan head-on. It fought while retreating towards a group of dark creatures. Night Sorrow had the urge to curse. This Dark Spirit Corpse was really shameless, wanting to kill him. If it wasn't for the protective bracelet, Night Sorrow would have suffered. Although he wouldn't be killed, he would definitely be seriously injured. Dai Tianxiang went to Night Sorrow's side. Lu Jinyu and Qin Nan started a chase after the Dark Spirit Corpse. Night Sorrow, how are you? Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei came to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine, but it's a big loss. The bracelet is like a life. Night Sorrow's wrist was empty. The bracelet had already been destroyed. It's fine as long as you're fine. We can talk about other things later. I still have a protective bracelet here, Yang Lei said and took off the bracelet on her wrist. Don't. I still have other ways to save my life. This one is very important. Night Sorrow quickly stopped Yang Lei. I'll think of a way for you. We don't have a protective bracelet, but we have other protective treasures. I'll think of a way for you. Dai Tianxiang said. All right, I believe you, Elder Dai. Night Sorrow said with a smile. I won't lie about this. I'll think of a way for you. Dai Tianxiang was stunned by Night Sorrow's words. Normally, Night Sorrow would say that he didn't need it and thank him for his kindness. However, Night Sorrow didn't play by the rules. Dai Tianxiang then ordered the team to continue advancing and kill as many as they could. An hour later, Qin Nan and Lu Jinyu returned. Lu Jinyu's face was pale. What's the situation? Dai Tianxiang asked. There's a change in the situation. It's not just a single supreme-level Dark Spirit Corpse. They're afraid of Commander Qin, so they attacked me together. If not for Commander Qin, I wouldn't have been able to return today. Lu Jinyu said angrily. Love, go little, say, W, chew. How many supreme-level Dark Spirit Corpses? Dai Tianxiang asked. 3. The main thing is that they have a unique skill. Once the death energy spreads out, it covers a large area. Then, they turn into clones and escape. After a few times, we couldn't even see their shadows. Qin Nan said, our attributes are suppressed by the death energy. Before we can investigate them clearly, they've already escaped. Lu Jinyu said, I suspect that these Dark Spirit Corpses are organized. They have the same unique skill to escape. It should be similar to clones and a battle skill. If we don't solve this problem, it'll be hard for us to kill them. Qin Nan said, how about this? We'll defend first and wait for the Enforcement Elder to return. We'll see what tactics are suitable. Dai Tianxiang said. The Enforcement Elder he was talking about was Lei Hua. In the City Lord's mansion, the Enforcement Elder and the Guardian Elder had the highest status. Lei Hua was the Enforcement Elder. Then, the group retreated to the campsite. Captain, you're too unlucky. You've been attacked by the Dark Spirit Corpses continuously. You're really attractive, Lei Bao said. You bastard. If it wasn't for the captain blocking at the front, do you think you'd be alive? Ho Jian waved his hand and punched Lei Bao's shoulder. Thank you, Captain. Lei Bao nodded at Night Sorrow. You're welcome. I'm willing to exchange some injuries for the safety of my brothers. I'm willing to accept this bad luck. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Thank you, Captain. The members of the Bloodstrike Guard also shouted. They're lucky to be following you. Qin glanced at the group behind Night Sorrow and said. Then, the group began to rest. The injured healed, and the uninjured sat down to recover. The 3 venerables of the Eastern Xian region were stationed around the campsite. They were worried that the Dark Spirit Corpses would launch a sneak attack on the campsite. Night Sorrow also began to meditate and heal. He wasn't injured today, but he hadn't recovered from the injuries from last time. There were no battles for the next 2 days. The main reason was that Qin Nan and the other two didn't want the Eastern Xian region to suffer any losses. The appearance of 3 venerables made the situation even more serious. If they rashly went out and couldn't stop the enemy's venerables, the consequences would be unimaginable. Qin Nan also sent people back to Eastern Xian City to gather the commanders of the Bloodstrike Guard and Black Iron Guard. At the same time, he reported the situation to the Guardian Elder so that he could ask Wu Lingfei what to do. After Night Sorrow fully recovered, the 3 commanders of the Bloodstrike Guard arrived. As for the commander of the Black Iron Guard, he had already gone to the Dark Island. After the 3 commanders arrived, the Eastern Xian region prepared for a big battle. Their strength was already overwhelming, so there was no point in continuing the confrontation. After a few higher-ups of the Eastern Xian region had a meeting, Ardent Wind found Night Sorrow. After drinking a jar of wine, Ardent Wind took out a set of silver soft armor. A different soft armor had a soaring golden kingbird on it. Night Sorrow couldn't recognize what kind of bird it was, but he could feel its contemptuous gaze and aura. "Is this for me?" Night Sorrow asked. "Brother, if it's not for you, why would I take it out? To show off? The city lord gave it to the Guardian Elder to deliver to you. It should be called the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor. You can study it yourself." Ardent Wind smiled and left Night Sorrow's tent. Yishang opened the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor and stretched out his hand to feel the cool sensation coming from it. Chapter 426. Genius 1, Second Remember Love, Go Divided by Xiao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow greeted her with some surprise. Baidu search, AI Go female sign, Xiao, say www.aichuxs.com. Well, this is only Aunt Fei's soul imprint. It won't exist for too long. You won't be able to recognize the owner of this armor. It's still the same. You need Aunt Fei to recognize you as the owner. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, the arm of the illusory figure cut Night Sorrow's arm. A stream of blood floated down Wu Lingfei's arm and entered the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor. At this time, the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor began to emit light. The light became brighter and brighter. After a while, the light weakened. The Golden Phoenix Soft Armor will not shatter. There's only one possibility for it to shatter. You will understand in the future. Although it will not shatter, it can only resist part of the energy that invades. If the energy is too strong, it will not be able to resist. You still have to pay attention to your safety. After speaking, Wu Lingfei's illusory figure dissipated. The dissipated energy also entered the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor. After receiving this energy, the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor changed again. The golden kingbird on it began to shine. It wanted to take off, as if it had a soul. At this time, Night Sorrow and the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor had a connection. With Night Sorrow's communication and the vibration of the energy in his body, the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor flew from the table and disintegrated. It then flew back to Night Sorrow's body and fastened tightly on Night Sorrow's body. At this time, the energy on the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor flowed. After feeling it, Night Sorrow's body shook. The Golden Phoenix Soft Armor turned into a half-foot long shoulder guard and fastened on Night Sorrow's shoulder. "Why did you take it off? The Golden Phoenix Soft Armor is so beautiful," Yang Lei said. "I don't want to, but supporting the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor requires a lot of Jinqi. I can't bear it," Night Sorrow said with a wry smile. He did not say that supporting the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor required the support of soul power. He could only support it for a while. In other words, he could block a few attacks at a critical time. Mistress K is really taking care of you. She doesn't call you concubine for nothing. She really treats you as a junior, Sikong Chuyu said with some emotion. At this time, as long as one was not a fool, they would know that this Golden Phoenix flexible armor was also a spiritual artifact. "It's really beautiful." Yang Lei looked at the Golden Phoenix Soft Armor and smiled, reaching out to touch it. "Wong." The golden phoenix soft armor vibrated and directly shook Yang Lei back. After taking a few steps back, Yang Lei steadied herself. What's going on? I haven't even touched it yet. The golden phoenix soft armor has an artifact spirit. I can only feel its existence when I use it. I don't know what's going on right now. I guess it's a self-protective consciousness, Night Sorrow said. Shaking his shoulders, Night Sorrow looked at the shoulder pads again. He felt that this golden phoenix flexible armor had a secret. This was his intuition. The golden phoenix flexible armor had an artifact spirit. He did not have much communication with the artifact spirit, but he could use it perfectly. After resting for a while, everyone gathered, but they didn't go out to battle. Pisong's 7 Hervit was Lei Hua, who came back and stopped them from going out to battle. Afterward, the upper echelons of the Eastern Xian region held another meeting to discuss countermeasures, because Lei Hua brought back some information. Night Sorrow and the others weren't qualified to participate in the meeting, so they drank and waited in the tent. An hour later, Lei Hua and Qi Nan arrived at Night Sorrow's tent. Dai Tianxiang and Lu Jinyu went to arrange other things. You're not going out to battle? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, we can't. Lei Hua sighed. Then, Lei Hua told him what he had found out. River Ocean City had fallen. After passing River Ocean City, Lei Hua scouted the coastline of the Realm Sea and found a spatial tunnel. Death energy was gushing out from it, and dark creatures were constantly appearing. This wasn't the main reason why the Eastern Xian region was in a passive position. The spatial tunnel's nature was very disgusting. The spatial tunnel gushed with death energy, and dark creatures could enter and leave without a problem. However, cultivators of other attributes couldn't enter except for death energy. Lei Hua had tested it on ordinary demonic beasts. The spatial tunnel rejected all attributes except death energy. As long as other attributes appeared, it would directly crush them. Can't your protective energy withstand it? Ho Jian asked. It can't. Low-level cultivators can't withstand the crushing death energy. High-level cultivators will be suppressed by the laws, and their spirit sea will be destroyed, Lei Hua explained. Then we won't go in. Let's kill all the dark creatures outside, and then defend the entrance, Nen Liu said. The spatial tunnel doesn't reject death energy. The dark spirit corpses can enter and exit as they wish. How are we going to fight? If we suppress the spatial tunnel, what if the dark spirit corpses come out and launch a sneak attack? A dark spirit corpse can kill a group of low-level cultivators on our side, even if it's injured, Lei Hua said hatefully. Night Sorrow and the others didn't say anything. The spatial tunnel's nature was too unfair. It put the Eastern Xian region and the Death Domain at a completely different starting point. The only thing we can do now is to guard the Broken Cloud Mountain and report to the Lord to see how to deal with it. I don't have any other ideas now, Lei Hua said with a sigh. If it was a head-on battle, Lei Hua wouldn't be afraid. However, the situation was too unfavorable. He had fought with the dark spirit corpses before. Just when he was about to kill them, the dark spirit stone ran back to the Death Domain. Without absolute strength, it was impossible to kill them. Then there was silence. No one had a solution. Senior, is this spatial tunnel the same as the Death Domain of the Dark Island? Night Sorrow asked. Now that the Dark Island was a hidden worry, Night Sorrow was very worried that this spatial tunnel wasn't the same. Then, the problem would be even more difficult to solve. Looking at the energy analysis, it's the same spatial tunnel. The types of dark creatures are also similar. If we're unlucky, there will be 2 of them. There are many dark spirit corpses in this spatial tunnel. The exact number is unknown. Most importantly, there are no conflicts between them. This means that they should have received orders. There should be a commander above them, Lei Hua said while rubbing his forehead. Night Sorrow's heart trembled. To be able to make a venerable rank dark spirit corpse obey, it could only be an expert stronger than them. You guys go back. Go back and rest for a while before coming back. It has been very tiring to fight under such high pressure. Also, tell the Lord about the situation and see how to arrange it. I can't leave this place right now because there's a very strong dark spirit corpse. If I leave, the others will find it hard to hold on. Lei Hua said. Leiwa didn't want Night Sorrow and the others to be ambushed by the Dark Spirit Corpse. He and Sheen had already planned to kill the Dark Spirit Corpse. Therefore, he was worried that the Dark Spirit Corpse would do the same. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the current situation was very difficult to determine victory or defeat. It would be very difficult for the dark creatures to attack. After all, there were many venerables from the Eastern Xian region. If the Eastern Xian region wanted to win, they would have to solve some problems. Bring your subordinates back to rest. Pack up and leave, Lei was said to Night Sorrow. Chapter 427. Geniuses Remember Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Following which, Night Sorrow led Yang Lei, Sikong Chiyu, and Ho Jian, as well as the members of the Bloodstrike Guard, back to Starcloud City on their flying mounts. 13. The current situation is very bad. What kind of situation is this? I can't calm down, Yang Lei said. Anifei said that this is a sign of chaos, but it doesn't matter. The Eastern Xian region isn't a place where the dark creatures can take over. Currently, only the subordinates of the City Lord's Mansion are taking action. If Tianji Tower and the other superpowers take action, the dark creatures will definitely be annihilated. The main problem is the root of the problem. If we don't deal with the root of the problem, it will always be troublesome, Night Sorrow said. You're quite open-minded, but it does make sense. No one can watch the Eastern Xian region fall. Although Tianji Tower is a force spread across the 9 regions and 18 states, the Eastern Xian region is also the hometown of many of its members, Yang Lei nodded. If there's a battle, we'll fight. If there's no battle, we'll rest and cultivate. Don't think too much about it, Sikong Chiyu said. Yishang nodded and didn't think about it any further. It took a day for the group to reach Starcloud City. When they arrived at the teleportation array, they teleported to Dongshin City. The Starcloud sect didn't charge the teleportation array because everyone who came to this area was here to fight the dark creatures. They were all here to help the Starcloud sect. Naturally, they couldn't charge the teleportation array. After returning to Dongshin City, Night Sorrow led the Bloodstrike Guard to a restaurant. After eating and drinking, he had them return to the City Lord's Mansion to rest. Yishang planned to expand the residence. However, it was very difficult to expand Qing Exine Cottage. If he wanted to expand, he would have to buy the residences on both sides of Qing Exine Cottage. He planned to do this later. There was nothing that couldn't be done without crystal stones. He didn't lack crystal stones now. Night Sorrow asked Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu to take Ho Jian and the others to Qingxin Villa to rest, while he drove Tianyu to Tianji Tower. On the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Yin Shui. Night Sorrow, you're back. How's the situation over there? Silver Snow asked. Yishan then told him about the situation at Broken Cloud Mountain of Starcloud Sect. The situation is really serious. Law enforcement elder Ho Yuan has gone to the Dark Island. I have to stay here and report this situation to Lord K, Yin Shui said. Then I'll go see the branch master. Night Sorrow bowed to Yin Shui and drove Tianyu away from Tianji Tower. Yin Shui was stunned. In Tianji Tower, unless the branch master showed himself, only Lei Hu could contact him. However, now that Night Sorrow said that he was going to see the branch master, how could Yin Shui not be surprised? In the mountains north of Dongshin City, Yishang saw Wu Lingfei meditating and cultivating. Night Sorrow then told Wu Lingfei about the situation at Broken Cloud Mountain. This kind of situation is very helpless. Every space is a manifestation of the heavenly Tao and has a sense of self-preservation. The rules of the space passage should be in accordance with the heavenly Tao's trajectory. Wu Lingfei said, "That's too unfair to our 9-domain world," Night Sorrow said. "Some things can't be explained clearly. After all, the 9-domain world is broken and some of the rules are not complete. You don't have to worry. If they really have the strength, they will directly push in. They are not pushing in now because they don't have the confidence." Wu Lingfei sneered. "Then I understand." Night Sorrow nodded. "This is actually nothing. Every period and every era will have some turbulence. It's just that it's not that serious. If it's not serious, it's just a small episode. If it's serious, it's a chaotic world. Love Go Little Say Network. Chu Wu Lingfei shook her head and said, "Then what should we do now?" Night Sorrow asked. "Either defend or violently sweep through that space. Aunt Fei will send a message. You don't have to worry about it. Go back and rest for a while," Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that he couldn't do anything about it. "Aunt Fei, I know this is your protective spirit treasure. I can't accept it. It will affect your combat strength," Night Sorrow said after controlling the Golden Phoenix soft armor. "Take it. You are right. This is my protective spirit treasure, but it's not my main body." Wu Lingfei waved her arm, and an identical Golden Phoenix soft armor appeared on her body. "What's going on?" Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei in surprise. He didn't understand what was going on. After Aunt Fei's protective spirit treasure evolved, it produced a secondary body. You are wearing the secondary body, so you don't have to worry about Aunt Fei's safety and combat strength. Although the situation is chaotic, it is still under Aunt Fei's control. Later, Aunt Fei can send some people from the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower. In fact, Aunt Fei can solve these problems now, but she doesn't want to delay her future because of this. Wu Lingfei looked at the life Saint Crystal in her hand, which had shrunk a lot. Aunt Fei can send people from Tianji Tower, but it's not easy to talk to the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow said. Haha, there are some things that Aunt Fei didn't tell you. Aunt Fei is not only the owner of Tianji Tower, but also the City Lord of Eastern Xian City. Therefore, Aunt Fei can control the situation in Eastern Xian region, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Night Sorrow was stunned. He used to think that Qi Nan was giving face to Tianji Tower, but now he understood that it wasn't the case. Okay, go. It's not a big deal. You can go back and rest. Wu Lingfei nodded to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow exhaled and suddenly felt very relieved. He took out 2 jars of wine and left them for Wu Lingfei. Then, he rode his Tianyu to the City Lord's mansion. In the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow saw Zheng Cheng and Steward Lin. Night Sorrow came to find Steward Lin. Night Sorrow is here. We know about your situation on the Island of Darkness. You're ruthless. What business do you have in the City Lord's mansion? Zheng Cheng asked. I'm here to find someone with a lot of face to help me with something. I'll have to trouble Steward Lin with this matter, Night Sorrow said. What's the matter? Enforcer Knight, just say it, Steward Lin said. It's like this. I want to buy a house on both sides of my residence. We won't bully people. I can pay a high price, even if they raise the price, Night Sorrow said. K only BC dollar and specified currency genuine, O&D, all. Is T pirated due Steward Lin, and I will help you with this matter. However, you already have a house. Why do you still want to buy one? Lu Jinyu appeared. He came back to communicate with the Guardian Elder and happened to hear Night Sorrow's words. Aren't I leading a team of guards? If the house is bigger and has a martial arts arena, it will be more convenient to give them some space, Night Sorrow said. It's like this. After I'm done with some things, I'll help you with it. You go ahead. I still have things to deal with. Lu Jinyu said and entered the City Lord's mansion. Chapter 428. Genius 1, Second Remember, Love, Go divided by Xiao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to Qingxin Villa, Night Sorrow found that a sumptuous feast had been prepared, but Ho Jian and the others were not there. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. So after asking, Night Sorrow found out that they had taken the teleportation array back to their sect. They had not returned to their sect for a long time, so they had to go back and report the situation. Is everything done? Yang Lei asked. It's done. Let's drink. Next, we will cultivate and rest peacefully. Don't worry about anything else. This is such a big matter. It's not our turn to worry about it. Night Sorrow sat down and said with a smile. It seems like someone has reassured you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so calm. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Yes, someone is handling these matters. Annie Fei said that she would send people from Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion to deal with these matters. Night Sorrow said, It's not a problem for her to send people from Tianji Tower. The City Lord's mansion is just giving face. Would they listen to her? Yang Lei shook her head. I used to think so too, but after I learned more about the situation, I understood a lot. Auntie Fei is actually the City Lord of Dongxian City. Otherwise, why would Commander Qin Nan be so respectful to her? This also explains why the City Lord's mansion of Dongxian City appeared when Medicine Valley and Golden Flame Sect were fighting. Night Sorrow said, so that's the case. They have helped us many times. It's just that we didn't know about it. Sikong Chiyu said with some emotion. Yes. Otherwise, Golden Flame Sect's teleportation array and Golden Flame Palace wouldn't have fallen into the hands of Medicine Valley so easily. Yang Lei also sighed. This was something that they had never thought of. It can be said that Aunt Fei controls most of the power in the Eastern Xian domain. If she can mobilize all of them, then the situation in the Star Cloud sect is nothing. Night Sorrow said after drinking a mouthful of wine. After the three of them had a hearty drink, Night Sorrow let Tianyu and Silver Fox out and let them play in the garden and yard. Silver Fox's potential is very terrifying. After awakening his bloodline, he entered the 5th level of the core condensation realm and is not far from the 6th level. His future combat strength is beyond doubt, Sikong Chiyu said. Let nature take its course. Recently, I plan to study alchemy and refine some Tier 5 pills. We are all Tier 5, so we can't do without Tier 5 pills. Night Sorrow said, Forever J, exempt $$ fee. Look, Small L, says one after staying for a while, Yang Lei went to rest. When she left, she smiled maliciously at Sikong Chiyu. Sikong Chiyu was very smart. How could he not know what was going on? The three of them hadn't been alone for a long time. Moreover, she and Yang Lei knew that Night Sorrow had cultivated the outer part of the Myriad Tao Tome. After staying for a while, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu returned to the main building. Night Sorrow, I suddenly feel a little nervous. Did you change? Sikong Chiyu asked with a red face. It's just a little bit, it's fine, Yishang said as he sat beside Sikong Chiyu. Okay, if I stick my head out, then I'll be cut. It's not just my problem. Sikong Chiyu also gained some courage and hugged Yishang after she finished speaking. After hugging for a while, Night Sorrow carried Sikong Chiyu to the bed. Then, he gently untied Sikong Chiyu's skirt and covered Sikong Chiyu with a blanket. Then, he untied his battle robe and got into bed. The two of them hugged. Sikong Chiyu hesitated for a while. Then, he mustered his courage and reached out to touch Night Sorrow. This is a little change? Sikong Chiyu punched Night Sorrow's chest with his fist. I didn't want to. I just cultivated the outer part of the Myriad Tao Tome. Because he had enough blood and chi, he'd change a little. Night Sorrow smiled and pushed Sikong Chiyu down. Then, he leaned over and pressed himself on top of him. It hurts. You're going to kill me. Slow down. Sikong Chiyu cried out because it was beyond what she could bear. Then, Night Sorrow became gentle. He would not ignore other people's feelings just because he wanted to. The two of them worked together for a long time before they merged perfectly. Yishang, you finished cultivating, right? If you change again, you'll have to go through it alone. Sikong Chiyu said as she bit Night Sorrow's ear while feeling the pain that almost tore her apart. I'm done cultivating. I won't change anymore. Night Sorrow smiled and began to move. Slowly, Sikong Chiyu got used to it. This time, the two of them struggled for a long time before they finished. Night Sorrow carried Sikong Chiyu, who was weak all over, and took a shower before returning to bed. We finally passed this stage. I'm tired. Hug me and rest. Sikong Chiyu said as she rested her head on Night Sorrow's arm. Night Sorrow smiled and kissed Sikong Chiyu's forehead. Then he hugged Sikong Chiyu's waist, and the two of them really began to sleep. The two of them woke up at daybreak. Sikong Chiyu helped Yishang tidy up his robe and tidied up her skirt. To be honest, I slept very soundly after all this. She said this as she helped Yishang fix up his robe. Thank you for your hard work. I really didn't mean it. Night Sorrow said apologetically. He knew that he had changed a lot. Sikong Chiyu could barely endure last night. Don't think too much. Didn't we pass last night? It shouldn't be so difficult in the future. Sikong Chuyu held Knight Sorrow's hand and said. After washing up, Knight Sorrow went to the courtyard to practice spear arts. Sikong Chuyu sat at the side and watched. At this moment, she was like a little girl. Then, Yanglei came over. Chuyu, your face is rosy. It's obvious that you've been nourished by rain and dew. Yeah, ninth senior sister, are you worried? Sikong Chuyu was now more relaxed. They were all family, so she didn't mind. Oh my god, is this still you? Yanglei looked at Sikong Chuyu in surprise. Then, she looked at Knight Sorrow, who was practicing spear arts. You ran so fast yesterday, and now you're bullying me. Sikong Chuyu looked at Yanglei and said, You're the first woman that 13 likes. You're the boss, so I have to be modest. Yanglei said. She was joking, but she was also serious. She had always done this. Ninth senior sister, don't say that. It's just a joke. Sikong Chuyu quickly said. She naturally understood the meaning of Yanglei's words. What are you two talking about? In a while, accompany me to buy some supplementary materials. Then, I'll come back and try to refine pills. I'll see if I can refine the Clear Void Pill and Great Void Pill. Knight Sorrow said as he put away his reincarnation spear. Then let's go now. We also want to buy some robes. Yanglei said. We must buy the robes. Other than the 2 robes that ninth senior sister made with top-quality silk, I only have this one left. If it's destroyed, I'll be naked. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Then let's go. Yanglei and Sikong Chuyu stood up and pulled Knight Sorrow outside. Chapter 429. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. The one on the left is small, but the price is a bit higher. After all, no one wants to move, so it's 40 top-grade crystal stones. The one on the right is the mansion of an elder of the Thunder Rumbling sect. He heard that you want to buy it, so he also wants 40 top-grade crystal stones. He's a bit of a loss at this price. What do you think? Lu Jinyu said. Since he's giving me face, I'll accept it. I can't let him suffer a loss. What's the normal price? Knight Sorrow looked at Manager Lin and asked. The normal price should be 60 top-grade crystals, which is still priceless, Steward Lin said. How about this? We'll give you 80 top-grade crystals. If the one on the left wants a high price, we won't make it up. Knight Sorrow said. This was his character. He didn't like to take advantage of others, but he didn't want anyone to take advantage of him. Sure, if that's the case, we'll still be friends. Lu Jinyu was also very satisfied with Knight Sorrow's decision. Then, Knight Sorrow took out a small bag of top-grade crystal stones. There were about 150 of them. Steward Lin, I'll have to trouble you with this matter. Help me find a craftsman to deal with this. This is too much. I don't need it at all. With a glance, Steward Lin knew that Knight Sorrow had taken out a lot more crystals. Baidu search, AI go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs.com, it's nothing. Steward Lin, please help me arrange for them to rebuild it better, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. All right then. You don't have to worry about this matter at night. I'll arrange it later, Steward Lin said. Then let's go in and have a drink first. Knight Sorrow said to Lu Jinyu and Manager Lin. Another day. This time, I still have some things to deal with. I have to go to Star Cloud sect immediately. You know the situation there. There are a lot of things to deal with. Lu Jinyu said. That's fine. Next time, I'll treat Elder Lu to a drink. Knight Sorrow understood that Lu Jinyu was indeed busy, so he didn't continue to insist. Then, Lu Jinyu and Manager Lin left. Knight Sorrow, Yanglei, and Sikong Chuyu continued shopping to buy alchemy materials and robes. Now that Yishan was rich, he bought a lot of materials and made several sets of robes. The Dongxian city was rich, and he was rich, he had to have crystal stones. After buying everything, the 3 of them bought some food before returning to the house. Yishan began to pack up the materials and then took out the alchemy furnace. The failure of the first batch of Clear Void pills was within Yishan's expectations. After summarizing the experience of failure, he continued to refine. After failing 3 times in a row, Knight Sorrow stopped concocting pills because he kept failing while condensing the pills. He took out Feng Chen's pill concoction manual and read it again. Night Sorrow found the crux of the problem. When condensing a 5th-level pill, he needed to use his soul power to control the process. This was also the reason why 5th-level pills were difficult to concoct. After sorting out his emotions and calming down, Night Sorrow continued to concoct pills. This time, he successfully concocted the Clear Void pill as he wished. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu took a look at the Clear Void pill and congratulated Night Sorrow. Love, go, little, say W. Chu successfully concocting a 5th-level pill meant that Night Sorrow's pill concoction level had reached the level of a great pill concoction master. After chatting for a while, Yang Lei greeted Night Sorrow and went into seclusion. She wanted to break through to the 3rd level of the Void Inquiry stage. NA update, soonest 8. DB with the help of the top-grade resources provided by Night Sorrow, Yang Lei had reached the peak of the 2nd level of the Void Inquiry stage for quite some time. She was now ready to make a breakthrough. Sikong Chiyu was also at the peak of the 2nd level of the Void Inquiry stage. However, she planned to stabilize her cultivation base first. Night Sorrow asked Sikong Chiyu to cultivate as well while he began his alchemy journey. In half a month's time, Night Sorrow had turned all the materials for the Clear Void pill into Tier 5 Clear Void pills. There were over 200 bottles in total. This was definitely a heaven-defying amount of resources. In the various sects, there were almost no 5th-order supplementary medicinal pills. This was also the reason why there were many 5th-order cultivators, but not many late 5th-order cultivators. Some of them were nurtured with the resources of their sects and families. The Clear Void Pill and Great Void Pill were the rewards for the unrestricted mission of the blood essence of ice spirits issued by the Tianji Tower. It could be seen how precious 5th-order medicinal pills were. In the Medicine Valley, it was already difficult to supply 4th-order medicinal pills, let alone 5th-order medicinal pills. After keeping the Clear Void Pill, Night Sorrow began to concoct the Great Void Pill. Night Sorrow was confident in concocting the Clear Void pill. However, he was not confident in concocting the Great Void pill because the Great Void pill was a mid-5th order medicinal pill. It was much more difficult than the Clear Void pill. With a lot of materials in hand and feeling that his soul power had improved by a lot, Night Sorrow did not hesitate to continue concocting. With the help of his soul power, Night Sorrow was very lucky. He succeeded in concocting the Great Void pill on his first try. With the experience of success, Night Sorrow continued to concoct. At night, he cultivated his true Qi, Myriad Tao Tome, and soul power. During the day, he concocted medicinal pills. While Night Sorrow improved his cultivation, he also turned the materials of the Great Void pill into medicinal pills. When Night Sorrow put away the alchemy furnace, Steward Lin came. This was not the first time he had come. During this period, he often came because he was in charge of the demolition and reconstruction of the houses on both sides of the Tranquil Heart Villa. The expansion drawings were drawn by Sikong Chiyu. She changed the layout of the 3 houses. The small courtyard where the 3 of them lived did not change because the backyard was deeper. The construction and reconstruction in the front were not affected. The house on the left side of the Tranquil Heart Villa was completely rebuilt into a residence and a small garden. The larger area on the right side was transformed into a pure garden and a large martial arts practice field. Tomorrow, the 3 houses will be connected. After the connection is completed, the reconstruction here will be almost finished, Steward Lin said. I have to thank Steward Lin for this. If I was busy with it, I don't know how long it would take. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Steward Lin and said, "Let's have a simple meal here at noon." Yang Lei, who had successfully broken through and had eaten the Void Transformation Pill, which increased her cultivation base to the peak of the Void Inquiry stage after stabilizing her cultivation base, walked out and said, "You don't have to be so polite. I still have some things to deal with. If you need anything, you can just inform me in the City Lord's mansion." Steward Lin cupped his fists at Night Sorrow and left. Currently, he was very concerned about Night Sorrow's work. He also had some reverence for him. The first time he helped Night Sorrow with something was arranged by Lei Hua. This time, it was arranged by Lu Jianyu. As long as Steward Lin was not a fool, he would know that Night Sorrow's position in the City Lord's mansion was not as simple as a law enforcer. After the construction here, it won't be a house anymore. It will be a huge mansion. There aren't many mansions like this in Eastern Profound City, Yang Lei said with a smile. She was happy that Night Sorrow had such an achievement. Chuyu has been in seclusion for 2 days, but there is still no news from her. Night Sorrow said, while looking at Sikong Chuyu's house. It's just a breakthrough. There is no need to worry, Yang Lei said. I know. Besides, I have concocted a lot of 5th-grade pills during this period of time. Let's return to the Medicine Valley later and send the pills back to the sect. My senior martial brother and 6 senior martial sister need them, Night Sorrow said. All right. They will definitely be very happy, Yang Lei said. Chapter 430. Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second Go. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Did you just realize that 9th senior sister is beautiful? Yang Lei said with a smile. I've always known. Night Sorrow took Yang Lei's hand and walked towards the main building. What are you doing? It's broad daylight. Yang Lei blushed. How could she not know what Night Sorrow was thinking? This has nothing to do with day or night. When they reached the entrance of the main building, Night Sorrow bent down and picked up Yang Lei. Yang Lei hugged Night Sorrow's neck and leaned her head on Night Sorrow's chest. After entering the bedroom, Night Sorrow put Yang Lei, who had just taken a shower and whose hair was still wet, on the bed. Then he stripped Yang Lei, took off his clothes, and pounced on her. You? Seeing Night Sorrow's change, Yang Lei's rosy face was full of shock. Hey, it's okay. Night Sorrow pressed on Yang Lei's body. How can it be okay? You're too scary. Yang Lei pushed Night Sorrow's chest and said, Chuyu is fine. Night Sorrow said and kissed Yang Lei's red lips at the same time. When Night Sorrow hugged her back to the room, she was aroused. Just now, she was just scared by Night Sorrow. Now, after being attacked by Night Sorrow, she immediately entered the zone. After a crazy toss, the two didn't rest until the afternoon sun shone in through the window. You don't care about senior sister at all. Yang Lei rolled her eyes at Night Sorrow and took her skirt to take a shower. After taking a shower, the two went to the courtyard and drank tea in the cool breeze. When are we going back to Medicine Valley? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It's fine. There's no rush. Let's wait for Chu Yu to finish her seclusion. She could go to Bamboo Forest Peak to stabilize her cultivation. I can also go to Danding Cliff to cultivate, Night Sorrow said. While the two of them were talking, Sikong Chuyu, who was wearing a light yellow silk dress, came out of the room and into the courtyard. Sikong Chuyu sat down and said, Judging from the redness on your faces and the fact that you've just taken a shower, I knew you two were up to no good. Chu, we plan to go back to the Medicine Valley and deliver some medicinal pills to our senior brothers and sisters. Night Sorrow changed the topic. Sure. I also prefer the Bamboo Forest Peak and the Dragon Spring Courtyard. After I stabilize my cultivation there, eating the Void Pill is the same, Sikong Chuyu said. All right, let's set off now. We'll rest at Bamboo Forest Peak tonight. Love, go little say, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was a person who did what he said. He didn't like to drag things out. Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei had no objections. Night Sorrow went to the front yard and greeted Ning Qing Feng. The house was still under construction, so he had to inform Ho Jian and the others when they arrived. After greeting Ning Qing Feng, the three of them rode on their flying demonic beasts and took off from Qingxin Cottage, flying toward the teleportation array. Their flying mounts attracted a lot of attention because their mounts were all top grade. Tianyu's body was snow white, and his beak and claws were glowing with a greenish gold light. Anyone who wasn't a fool would know that he was a demonic beast. Yang Lei's rank 5 black-feathered eagle was also very handsome. It should be known that rank 5 mounts were very rare. Sikong Chuyu's fire phoenix was very beautiful. At this time, its cultivation had reached rank 4, level 7. Chuyu, If your fire phoenix wants to advance, it needs an opportunity, Yang Lei said. Yes, it is now an adult. If there is no opportunity, it can only reach the peak of rank 4, Sikong Chiyu said. Love, go little say, could don't worry. As long as it's possible, there will be a chance, Night Sorrow said. You can count on Night Sorrow. I don't see anything he can't do, Yang Lei said after the three of them got off their mounts at the teleportation array. Night Sorrow only smiled. He could only try his best. He couldn't refuse. After paying the teleportation fee, the three of them were teleported to Danding City. Looking at the glittering golden flame palace, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei gave up on the idea of seeing Yu Yangyu. No one knew if Yu Yangyu was cultivating or not. The three of them walked around the city lord's mansion. Yang Lei asked about the situation symbolically, then rode her flying beast to Longquan Courtyard. After not seeing Aoi and the people from Taishan Peak at Longquan Courtyard, the three of them flew towards Danding Mountain. Soon, the three of them arrived at Taishan Peak. In the Taishan Palace, Night Sorrow saw Wu Qi and Huanan. Third senior brother. You're back too. Looking at Huanan, Night Sorrow greeted him happily. Golden Flame City is already on track. I didn't have anything to do, so I came back to take a look. I haven't been separated from my senior and junior brothers, so I miss them, Huanan said. Then we're all here. I'll send someone to call eldest senior brother over. Let's get together tonight. 13. Your cultivation speed is really shocking. Your senior brothers and sisters will be very happy to see you, Wu Qi said emotionally. He was at the peak of the spirit severing stage and was still refining his qi. Then, Wu Qi sent a disciple from Taishan Peak to inform the other senior and junior brothers. Then, the three of them walked towards the bamboo grove. Before they even arrived at the bamboo grove, they could already hear Qing Ji's tender roar, as well as the screams of other people. When they arrived, they saw what was going on. Achoy was teaching her and Yang Lei's disciples a lesson. Unavoidably, she was holding a rot tan in her hand. 9 junior sister, 13, Chi, you're all back. Originally, I planned to call third senior brother over for a drink tonight. Now, I have to call the others over. Aoi raised her hand and threw the rot tan to Shun Rong, who was beaten up just now. Greetings, senior uncles. Shun Rong, who was holding the rot tan, brought the other junior brothers and sisters to greet them. Look at your 13th senior uncle. He's already at the void inquiry stage. 13. You've advanced to the void inquiry stage? After checking Night Sorrow's cultivation base, Aoi was stunned. She was now at the 8th level of the spirit severing stage. She could see Night Sorrow's cultivation base. I just broke through some time ago. Night Sorrow pulled Aoi to sit down and said, among his senior brothers and sisters, other than Yang Lei, he was the closest to Aoi. You rascal. Every time we don't meet for a while, you'll scare your senior sister. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, Senior sister, how have you been recently? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. What do you mean? None of these bastards are easy to deal with. They joined the sect 1 year after you, and 2 of them joined the sect at the same time as you. None of them can compare to you. Aoi said angrily, Master, if all of us can be compared to 13th senior uncle, then our Medicine Valley will unify the entire Eastern Profound region. Shun Rong mumbled. You still dare to talk back? Aoi said, and was about to teach Shun Rong a lesson. 6th junior sister, Shun Rong is right. They are indeed very hardworking. It's only right for them to set 13 as their goal. However, you can't use 13 standards against them. Gong Xian appeared in the bamboo grove with a smile. Eldest senior brother, Night Sorrow, and the others bowed to greet him. Chapter 431. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. It has been 2.5 years since I entered the sect. Yisha nodded. All right. Senior brother has nothing to say. Once everyone is here, we'll start drinking. How delightful. Gong Xian said with a smile. In just a short while, Night Sorrow's senior martial brothers had all arrived at the small building in the bamboo forest. When they saw Night Sorrow's cultivation base, All of them were extremely shocked. Well, there's no need to talk about how fast his cultivation base has improved. My senior martial brothers probably don't know about how 13 killed a Void Inquiry stage dark zombie, all by himself. Yang Lei said with a smile. 13th Haki. Sure, Tianlin gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up. Currently, Yu Yangyu's disciples were progressing towards the Void Inquiry Stage 1 after another. Gong Xian, Yang Lei, and Hua Nen had all entered the Void Inquiry stage. Currently, Mo Chin's cultivation base was at the 5th level of the Spirit Severing stage, followed by the 8th level of the Spirit Severing stage. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs.com. I'll give everyone some more resources, Night Sorrow said. 13, senior brother and senior sister can't finish the resources you gave us last time. We don't need them anymore, Aoi said. Last time, I gave you Tier 4 cultivation resources. This time, it's something else. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he took out a portion of the clear void pills and great void pills he had refined. Aoi reached out and opened the pill bottle. After taking a look, she was stunned. It's a 5th grade clear void pill, and it's fresh out of the furnace. TTT 35, they were all made by 13 recently. Yang Lei proudly hugged Night Sorrow's arm and said, "These 2 bottles contain clear void pills. There are exactly 3 pills for each person." Night Sorrow pointed at 2 of the bottles and said, 13, if you can concoct rank 5 pills, then you're an alchemy grandmaster. Aoi, who had been studying alchemy, said, "It doesn't matter if I'm a master or not. What's important is that senior brother and senior sister need the medicinal pills. I can refine them," Night Sorrow said. Haha. After 13 entered the sect, everyone's luck turned for the better. There was no shortage of cultivation resources, and everyone's cultivation base rose in a straight line, Gong Xian said with a smile. After that, Wu Qi and the others distributed the clear void pills and void pills. Here are 20 bottles of clear void pills. Eldest senior brother, you take them. When senior brother and senior sister need them, you could distribute them. Night Sorrow took out some more pills. 13 put it away. You need it too. Senior brother and senior sister only need some. Gong Xian said with a frown. He did not want to delay his own cultivation just because Night Sorrow wanted to help others. Eldest senior brother, don't worry. I can concoct pills myself. I don't lack medicinal pills, Night Sorrow said with a shake of his head. All right, second junior brother, you take them. It's not suitable for me to take them. Why don't I distribute the resources to the others in the Medicine Valley? Gong Xian said with a smile. Sixth junior sister, you take them. It's not suitable for me, an eldest senior brother, to take these resources, Wu Qi said with a smile. That's true. You're both people of status. One is responsible for all the disciples in the Medicine Valley, and the other is responsible for all the disciples in the Taishan Peak. However, 13's current resources are only for senior brother and senior sister, Huanan said. All right, then I'll take them. If you need them, come to me. I'll be your housekeeper, Aoi said with a smile. Eldest senior brother, what's Master's situation now? Where is he? Night Sorrow asked. Gong Xian then told him about Yu Yangyu's situation. Yu Yangyu had been staying in the Golden Flame Hall to cultivate. He had entered the Venerable Realm and had the help of the Golden Flame Hall, so he was currently improving his cultivation at full speed. Knowing that Yu Yangyu was improving his cultivation at full speed, Night Sorrow dismissed the idea of paying him a visit. After drinking together, Night Sorrow and the other two returned to the Bamboo Forest Peak. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, I plan to go to Danding Cliff to cultivate for a while and improve my cultivation, Night Sorrow said after sitting in the courtyard of the Bamboo Forest Peak and drinking a pot of tea. All right, go ahead. While I'm stabilizing my cultivation, Chuyu also needs to do the same. After that, she'll take the void level pill and cultivate, Yang Lei said. After that, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu to Danding Cliff. After sending Tianyu away, Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su and began to climb the cliff. Seeing Night Sorrow climbing the cliff, Elder Su did not need anyone to report to him and directly returned to the Danding Palace. At this moment, Gong Xian, the Great Elder, and Chu Ling Xiao were talking in the Danding Palace. Elder Su is here. Take a seat. The Great Elder waved his hand at Elder Su. Elder Su might be the weakest among the elders in the Medicine Valley, but he was definitely the most respected one because he had dedicated everything he had to the Medicine Valley. Great Elder, do you know that 13 has advanced to the 5th rank Void Inquiry stage? Elder Su asked excitedly. We're just talking about it. Not only did he advance to the 5th rank, but he also concocted quite a number of 5th rank pills and distributed them to his senior martial brother and senior martial sister. This means that he's also a pill refinement master. The Great Elder said with a smile. The sect must pay attention to this. We must. He's the hope of our Medicine Valley, Elder Su said excitedly. Elder Su, don't be so excited. The main thing is, how can we pay attention to him? He doesn't want to be the young valley master, even if we offered him the position. It's not like he lacks resources. The Great Elder said with a bitter smile. That's right. He really doesn't need anything. He has done too much for the Medicine Valley. From finding the Sacred Cauldron Scripture to defeating the Golden Flame sect, every single one of his deeds is of great significance to the Medicine Valley. Finding the Sacred Cauldron Scripture is equivalent to rebirth the Medicine Valley. Defeating the Golden Flame sect and allowing the Medicine Valley to stand tall in the Eastern Profound Domain. Elder Su said emotionally. Wait a moment. I'll go and ask Grand Elder Hua and the other Grand Elders for their opinions. This matter is giving me a headache too, the Great Elder said. Elder Su nodded and left the Pill Cauldron Hall. Night Sorrow directly rushed to 7,000 meters and continued climbing upwards. Normally, climbing from 7,000 meters to 7,100 meters should not be too stressful. However, that was not the case. Night Sorrow exhausted all his true chi, the energy of the Myriad Dao Tome and the spiritual chi of the Profound Jade, to reach the 7,100-meter platform. Sitting on the 7,100-meter platform, Night Sorrow began his cultivation. After cultivating for 5 days, Night Sorrow cultivated the energy of the Myriad Dao Tome to the 7th level of the Consolidation Realm. While stabilizing the cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome, Night Sorrow cultivated his soul power and true chi. At the same time, the energy of his innate bloodline was constantly rushing towards the 4th energy point. Staying on the 7,100-meter platform, Night Sorrow began his daily cultivation. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow cultivated for 1 month, and only then did his true chi cultivation reach the peak 1st level of the Void Inquiry stage. The pressure of the 7,100-meter platform was not small. However, with the protection of the energy of the Myriad Dao Tome, Night Sorrow began to break through on the spot. Since his true chi was abundant, it was not difficult for Night Sorrow to condense his true chi halo. After spending half a day, his true chi cultivation base reached the 2nd level of the Void Inquiry stage. After that, he stabilized his true chi cultivation base and continued cultivating the Myriad Dao Tome and his soul power. Chapter 432. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow did not continue climbing Danding Cliff. Riding on his Tianyu, he arrived at the North Pole Peak. Night Sorrow saw Qin Jun practicing swordsmanship in the valley where Yin Bei Bei was cultivating. Night Sorrow, when he saw Yi Shang, Qin Jun waved his hand and put away his longsword. He directly arrived in front of Yi Shang and punched Yi Shang's shoulder. What Night Sorrow? Call him Martial Uncle. Yin Beiji came out and reprimanded Qin Jun. Martial Uncle Yin, Qin Jun and I are brothers. Let's not talk about other things, Night Sorrow said. That's right, Martial Uncle. I don't think Night Sorrow will care about these things, Qin Jun said. All right then. All right, you two can continue chatting. Yi Shang, you made a big fuss. You've entered the 5th stage before the age of 20. Now, The Great Elder is looking for the Grand Elder and the Peak Lords to discuss your matter. You two can continue chatting. Yin Bei Bei smiled and left the Colonel stage 5. Night Sorrow, you've entered stage 5? Qin Jun looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. I just entered not long ago, Night Sorrow said as he took out a jar of wine. The distance between us is getting bigger and bigger. Qin Jun's face darkened. Your cultivation speed is already amazing. Take it slow. What's the rush? Night Sorrow said with a smile. I want to get closer to you as soon as possible so that I can train with you, but Qin Jun said with a sigh. What does this have to do with cultivation? If you want to go out, we could go out together. However, the outside world is very dangerous. Most of the time, we're walking the line between life and death, Night Sorrow said. Really? I don't care about life and death. Life and death are predestined. Aren't cultivators supposed to fight against the heavens? Qin Jun said with a smile. That's good. You can talk to Marshal Uncle Yin later. If he agrees, you can go to the Bamboo Forest Peak to look for me. I'll be returning to Dongxian City soon, Night Sorrow said. All right then, I'll look for you later. The Qin Jun was so excited that he gulped down the wine jug in one gulp. Night Sorrow gave the spirit congealing pills and meditation pills in the storage ring to Qin Jun, and then drove Tianyu back to the Bamboo Forest Peak. The second grade of the Void Inquiry stage. You're advancing 1 grade per month. Don't tell me you're planning to break through to the Venerable Realm within a year? Yang Lei said with a smile. Ninth senior sister, stop joking around, Night Sorrow said with a chuckle. At this time, except for you Yang Yu, all the high-ranking officials of the Medicine Valley were present in the Pill Tripod Hall. Then, the Great Elder told them about Night Sorrow's situation. There has never been a Void Inquiry stage cultivator who is less than 20 years old in the history of cultivation. However, such a person has appeared in our Medicine Valley. Now, tell us about his arrangements. Hua Yunpeng said. The problem is that he isn't interested in the position of the young Valley Lord. What can we do? He has plenty of pills and resources. It can be said that we can't give him anything. Yin Beiji said. This is really a difficult problem to solve. Duan Lei of the Cloud Sea Peak said. A Void Inquiry stage cultivator is qualified to become an elder. However, he's only 20 years old. It's not suitable for him to be an elder. The Great Elder knocked his walking stick on the ground and said, Then we'll add another Vice Valley Lord. He doesn't need to be in charge of anything. He's the signboard that we want. Hua Yunpeng said. After that, everyone passed. Night Sorrow became the 3rd Vice Valley Lord of the Medicine Valley. Of course, Night Sorrow was still unaware of it. This guy is really troublesome. While he solved the problem of our Medicine Valley, he also gave us a difficult problem. The Great Elder said with a smile. Although it's a difficult problem, I feel that the more such problems there are, the better. Duan Lei said with a smile. While Night Sorrow was drinking tea and chatting with the 2 women, Hua Yunpeng and the Great Elder arrived. When they arrived, they directly placed a token in front of Night Sorrow. What kind of token is this? Yang Lei took the token and took a look at it. After taking a look at it, Yang Lei was stunned because there was a golden medicinal cauldron on the token. The token of a Vice Valley Lord? It's the token of a Vice Valley Lord. 13. The sect can't give you anything. This is your token in the Medicine Valley. Hua Yunpeng said. Look at Section B of Chapter M of the FS version. Supreme Elder, Great Elder, this is not appropriate. I don't have time to manage anything. Hurry up and take back the order. Night Sorrow said with a bow. It's too late. Your eldest senior brother and senior brother Chu have already informed all the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Almost all the disciples of the Medicine Valley probably know about this. If you refuse, it will be a slap in the face to me and the Supreme Elder. The Great Elder said with a smile as he took the tea that Sikong Chiyu brewed. Disciple can only accept the order, but I really don't have time to manage this matter. Night Sorrow said. There are some things that everyone knows. No one arranged for you to do anything. In the future, you can do whatever you want. Just know that the Medicine Valley is your home. Hua Yunpeng nodded and said. While they were talking, Qin Jun arrived at the Bamboo Forest Peak on his Tiger Eagle. Kid, why are you here? The great elder looked at Qin Jun and asked, "Disciple has asked Grandmaster. I want to follow Martial Uncle Yi to explore the world." Qin Jun bowed to Hua Yunpeng and the great elder and said his decision. "Good." You and Night Sorrow are the most outstanding disciples in the history of the Medicine Valley. Your path is indeed outside. I won't stop you." The great elder nodded and said. After chatting for a while, Hua Yunpeng and the great elder left. While Night Sorrow was resting in the Medicine Valley, people from the Eastern Xian region headquarters came again. It was the headquarters supervisor, Lan Yuxuan, and two other men. "Chief Enforcer Yin Shui, is Night Sorrow here?" After arriving at the headquarters of the Tianji Tower, Lan Yuxuan directly asked about Night Sorrow's situation. Some time ago, after Night Sorrow had entered the Fifth Order, the Eastern Xian region's Tianjin Tower had reported his situation to the headquarters. If he passed the examination, then Night Sorrow's Heaven's Fate test would officially end. He should have returned to the Medicine Valley. Yin Shui said, "We'll have to trouble Chief Enforcer Yin Shui to take us there." The other supervisor said, "I can't leave the Tianji Tower yet. The situation in the Eastern Xian region is complicated. I have to stay here." Yin Shui said, "What's wrong? What's the problem?" Lan Yuxuan asked. Yin Shui then explained the recent situation in the Eastern Xian region. "It's really serious. You should tell the headquarters about this. We'll bring some people over." Lan Yuxuan said, "Don't worry. It's still under Master K's control." Yin Shui said, "How about this? Chief Enforcer Yin Shui, send someone to inform Night Sorrow to return. We'll also go to the dark space to take a look. This isn't a small matter. The headquarters should know about the Tianji Tower in the Eastern Xian region." Lan Yuxuan said, "All right, I'll arrange for someone to call him over." Yin Shui said. Chapter 433. A Genius Remembering Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I'm very sorry about that. Normally, the branch master only sends orders, and I can't see him. However, Yishang can see the branch master. When Yishang comes, we'll talk about this, said Yin Shui. I've long heard of Master Wu Kei's fame, but I've never had the chance to meet her, a man said. Guanyin, Supervisor Yin Shui. You should know him. This is Supervisor Ling, Lan Yuxuan introduced. The one who wanted to meet Consort Wu was Ling Jian. Supervisor Ling, I've been in the Eastern Xian region for a long time, but I've only met Master Wu Kei twice, Yin Shui said with a smile. There are only a few people who can be called invincible in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, and Master Wu Kei is the strongest among them. It's a pity that I can't meet her, Ling Jian said with a sigh. Yes, Master Wu Kei is unwilling to leave the Eastern Xian region otherwise. Lan Yuxuan didn't continue. Night Sorrow was talking to Qin Jun about the outside world. I'm now a purple follower of Tianji Tower. I don't know when I'll have the qualifications to join Tianji Tower, Qin Jun said with clenched fists. Once you reach the 4th step, you'll have the qualifications to join the Black Watch. It won't take long. When we return to Dongxian City, I'll talk to the higher-ups and enlist you in the Bloodstrike Guard, Night Sorrow said to Qin Jun. Thank you, Martial Uncle 13. I'm still not used to calling you Martial Uncle, Qin Jun said while rubbing the back of his head. We were friends and brothers before we entered the Medicine Valley. So don't worry about this issue of seniority when we're not in the sect, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then I'll call you Brother 13. Qin Jun bowed to Night Sorrow. Okay, that's it. Night Sorrow helped Qin Jun up. While they were chatting, Enforcer Dong arrived at the bamboo forest peak with a man wearing a bronze mask. Lord Yi, Tianji Tower hopes that you can return as soon as possible, the masked Tianji Tower inspector said. All right, I will return to Dongxian City tonight, Night Sorrow said to the Tianji Tower inspector. This time, there are a few big shots from the headquarters. I guess they are here to investigate your affairs. It's better to go back early. The inspector from Tianji Tower bowed to Night Sorrow and left. After the people from Tianji Tower left, Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu. Let's bid farewell to senior brother and head to Dongxian City. The situation there is rather tense. Baidu search, love, go, xiao, say www.aichux.com. All right. Qingjin, do you have anything else? If not, we will depart in a bit. Yang Lei asked Qingjin. No, we can depart at any time. Qingjin was in high spirits. 13. I can't be an unqualified master. I plan to bring Jiang Ziming and the others to Dongxian City and let them see more. After all, our mansion is big enough. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked, All right, we have 4 flying mounts. We can teleport them to Danding City. Night Sorrow nodded. After bidding farewell to Aoi and the others, Night Sorrow brought Jiang Ziming, Xiang Ding, and he meowed to Danding City and teleported to Dongxian City. Senior sister Jiao, Chu Yu, bring them around Dongxian City and broaden their horizons. I will go to Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said after exiting the teleportation formation. N. Go ahead. Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei nodded. Night Sorrow rode on his Tianyu and rose into the sky. After putting on his mask, he went straight to Tianji Tower. On the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Yin Shui, Lan Yuxuan, Ling Jian, and Guan Yin. Second grade void, inquiry stage, cultivation base. Qi essence that is over 3 zhang asterisk 3. 33 m per zhang long. Lan Yuxuan took a deep breath and said after seeing Night Sorrow, There is no problem with your cultivation base. Night Sorrow, can I check your bone age? This is related to the records of our Tianji Tower. Guan Yin asked. Night Sorrow looked at Guan Yin and stretched out his arm. Lan Yuxuan took a step forward and placed her hand on Night Sorrow's wrist. Then, she retreated. Bone age 19. Night Sorrow, do you mind if I give it a try as well? I just want to confirm it. Ling Jian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He could tell that Night Sorrow did not intend to let others continue to check his bone age after he retracted his arm. I'm from the Eastern Xian region. I really don't care if you acknowledge me or not. You don't have the most basic trust in me, said Yishang. He felt somewhat disgusted at being interrogated like a criminal. You misunderstood. We are not suspecting you. It's just that this matter is very important. Otherwise, the 3 of us wouldn't have come here. Lan Yuxuan looked at Night Sorrow, who was frowning, and said, Night Sorrow, there is no distinction between our Tianji Tower. Lord Supervisor Lan just returned from Jianghai City and is very concerned about our matters here. So don't think too much. Yin Shui could tell that Night Sorrow was a little conflicted with Lan Yuxuan and the other 2. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and stretched out his arm again. Ling Jian stretched out his finger to check Night Sorrow's bone age. Then, he nodded to Lan Yuxuan, Ling Jian, and Guan Yin. Chief Protector Yin Shui, his heaven's rank assessment has officially ended. Lan Yuxuan said to Night Sorrow, This is a good thing. It seems that in the past 300 years, there hasn't been a member who has completed the 5-star assessment in our Tianji Tower. Yin Shui said, If it was 3 years ago, it would be like this. But not now. 3 years ago, there was a member who completed the 5-star assessment in the Southernly region. Lan Yuxuan said, There are really many talented people. Yin Shui sighed. Night Sorrow, when you completed the 4-star assessment, the headquarters issued you a Heaven's Rank mask. However, it didn't have much authority. Now that you have completed the Heaven's Rank assessment, the situation has changed. There are also some special authorities. This is the Tianji Tower's Heaven's Rank Envoy token. After you go to the headquarters to meet the Chief Tower Master, you will officially become the Tianji Tower's Heaven's Rank Envoy. Lan Yuxuan handed a golden token to Night Sorrow. Yishang also handed over his old command medallion. These are the resources you need to reach the 5th rank. There are also 300 high-grade crystals. Lan Yuxuan took out some resources from her storage ring. Thank you, Lord Supervisor. Night Sorrow bowed to Lan Yuxuan. You're welcome. In addition, you also have some authorities. For example, Tianji Tower will provide you with weapons that match your attributes and rank. Guan Yin said with a smile. I don't need that for the time being. Night Sorrow said as he touched the reincarnation spear on his back. All right then. Whenever you have any needs, just tell us. Whatever the extreme celestial tower can do, we will do it for you. You know that the Extreme Celestial Tower is a sect that can be found throughout the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, but we only have a few disciples. Do you understand? Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 434. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I believe you. Yishan nodded. Yishan nodded. Our TNG Towers members roam the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, which force dares to provoke us. This is because they know the consequences. This is a tradition left behind by our ancestors. As long as you enter the TNG Tower, you will be protected with all your strength, Lan Yuxuan said. However, Night Sorrow, you have to pay attention to another point. We, TNG Tower, are proud. If you're defeated and killed by a cultivator of the same level, you can only say that you are not as good as them. No one else will care. In Shui reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He was not afraid of such a challenge. Okay, you just came back from a medicine valley. You must be tired. Go and rest. Lan Yuxuan said. Yishang nodded and left the Celestial Terminus Tower. After returning to Qingxin Cottage, Night Sorrow stood at the gate and looked around, feeling very satisfied. At this time, the Qingxin villa looked very grand. It was not the kind of luxurious style, but rather delicate with a sense of grandeur. Night Sorrow strode into the mansion. The 3 mansions were connected, and the rebuilt Qingxin Cottage occupied a large area. Hearing some movement on the left, Night Sorrow walked over. After arriving, Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu arranging accommodations for Yang Lei's disciples. Not bad. This is very good. In the future, let the Brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard move in as well. They will be able to see the Bloodstrike Guard's cultivation and fighting style, Night Sorrow said. Is Tianji Tower looking for you for something? Sikong Chiyu asked. It's nothing. After I entered the Void Inquiry stage, the Heaven Rank trial officially ended. Then he gave me a token. Night Sorrow said, it's a good thing that the Heaven's Fate assessment has ended. I've been so busy that I forgot about it, Yang Lei said. There are too many people here, and we don't have enough servants. We need to buy another batch of maidservants. Night Sorrow turned to look at the situation in the house and said. After that, Night Sorrow and the others went to buy 6 or 7 maidservants to take care of the chores in the house. In the evening, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. He was now in a relatively special stage. If his true chi could smoothly increase by another level, then he could eat the Void Dan and increase his cultivation by another level. Another thing was that Night Sorrow's 4th bloodline talent was loosening, but Night Sorrow knew that it wouldn't be that easy to activate it. Chu, look at the original chapter. After analyzing the process of activating the first 3 bloodline energy points, Night Sorrow knew that it would be more difficult to activate the latter bloodline energy points. Not to mention the 1st and 2nd bloodline energy points. When activating the 3rd bloodline energy point, Night Sorrow experienced twice the difficulty of activating the 2nd bloodline energy point. Night Sorrow felt that activating the 4th bloodline energy point would require twice the amount of energy and difficulty compared to activating the 3rd bloodline energy point. However, Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. As long as he could activate it, it would be fine. The length of time wasn't a big problem. Every time Night Sorrow cultivated, he would rely on the Ice Spirit Blood Essence and Soul Crystal. In addition, he also consumed the Spiritual Liquid of Origin, which allowed him to improve in several aspects at the same time. He was very interested in the soul extinguishing / left behind by the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow wasn't a newbie. He already understood the importance of the soul. The body and the soul were the 2 most important parts of all life forms. When the soul was damaged, even if it didn't die, it would be an idiot. High-level cultivators could achieve an indestructible soul. Even if they didn't have a body, they could still survive. Through this, it could be analyzed that the soul was more important than the body. Cultivators and monsters below the 5th level didn't open up the deep sea, but the soul still existed. It was just that there wasn't an obvious way to manifest it. The soul extinguishing / was a killing move that specialized in attacking the soul. This was also the reason why the Dark Spirit Saint could perish together with his opponent, even though his attributes were restrained by the Life Saintess. Night Sorrow cultivated, and so did the others. However, it was only quiet for a few days. This was because Ho Jian, Lei Bao, Lei Zheng, and Nan Liyue had all returned. Ho Jian also brought Ho Qingjie with him. Ho Qingjie had also passed the Tianji Tower's dark notice some time ago. He was officially recruited into the Tianji Tower and became a patrol. Night Sorrow introduced Qin Zhen to the others. Before we arrived at the Medicine Valley, you were able to stand on the same side as Night Sorrow. There's nothing to say. You're a true brother. Qin Zhen, you're Night Sorrow's brother. So you're our brother, Lei Bao said as he patted Qin Zhen's shoulder. Hurry up and enter the 4th level. Our team is waiting for you to join us, Ho Jian also said. Qin Zhen nodded at the others. His face was full of excitement. However, he opened his mouth to say something, but nothing came out. Qin Zhen isn't good at communicating. That's how it is. Regarding cultivation, what do you all have to talk about? Let's go and eat. Night Sorrow waved his arm and led the group to a restaurant to eat and drink. After Night Sorrow finished drinking and brought the group back to the mansion, he met Yin Shui at the door. Chief Enforcer Yin Shui, why are you here? Is something the matter? Night Sorrow asked. Yes. I didn't tell you last time. Inspector Lon and the other two want to meet our K-Lord. When I saw you last time, I forgot to mention this matter. They went to Zhanghai City a few days ago to fight and help us stabilize the situation. When they came back, they brought this matter up again. However, I can't contact K-Lord. Currently, only you can contact K-Lord. Yin Shui revealed the purpose of her visit to Night Sorrow. I don't know if K-Lord will meet them, but I can pass on the message, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. All right, then I'll go back. As for whether K-Lord will meet them or not, you can go to Tianji Tower and inform him. Yin Shui nodded to Night Sorrow. She also knew that no one could make the decision for Wu Lingfei. In addition, although Lan Yuxuan and the others were important figures in the eyes of others, they weren't much in Wu Lingfei's eyes. Cultivation determined height, and Wu Lingfei had this height. After letting Yang Lei and the others return to the mansion, Night Sorrow rode his Chanyu to the mountain peak where Wu Lingfei cultivated. Seeing Yishang arrive, Wu Lingfei, who had been meditating, opened her eyes and pointed at a rock not far from her. Aunt Fei, people from Tianji Tower's headquarters are here. I passed the Tianji Tower's Heaven's Fate assessment. Night Sorrow bowed to Wu Lingfei. You entered the 5th order before the age of 20, so it's natural for you to pass the Heaven's Fate assessment. However, you shouldn't go to Tianji Tower's headquarters for the time being. Eastern Profound Region is in troubled times, and it's also a good tempering for you, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands. Also, Chief Law Protector Yin Shui just came to find me. She said that the 3 supervisors want to meet you, Aunt Fei, Night Sorrow said. Irritating, but it's not appropriate to not meet them. All right, Aunt Fei will return later. How have you been recently? The main thing is to find ways to increase your spiritual strength. As for your qi cultivation, it will slowly increase, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow then talked about how he could cultivate spiritual strength. He hoped that this method could be used as a reference for Wu Lingfei. Chapter 435. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I understand. All right, let's go back together. Wu Lingfei stood up and put on her golden mask. With a wave of her hand, she pulled Night Sorrow to her side and flew towards Tianji Tower. Moments later, the two of them arrived at Tianji Tower. All right, you can go back now. If there's anything, we'll go to the same old place to find Annie Fei. All right, then I'll head back first. Night Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and drove Tianyu away from Tianji Tower, flying towards the mansion. However, he was extremely shocked. The time it took for Wu Lingfei to bring him from the mountain peak to Tianji Tower was less than half the time it took for Lei Hua to fly. What did this mean? This meant that Wu Lingfei was much stronger than Lei Hua. At the very least, she was twice as fast as Lei Hua. After returning to the mansion, Knight Sorrow saw that Qin Jun was in the middle of cultivating his strength. Ho Jian and the others were giving Qin Jun some advice. After chatting with the group for a while, Knight Sorrow went to cultivate. He wanted to improve his soul force as soon as possible. He wanted his soul force to reach the liquid state as soon as possible. Knight Sorrow also knew that it wasn't that easy. Many cultivators who had entered the venerable realm couldn't reach this level. However, Knight Sorrow was not discouraged because of this. He had the cultivation method and soul crystals, so there was no way he could not cultivate. After practicing the basics for a night, Knight Sorrow went to the martial arts practice field to practice his spear arts. He had now cultivated the 7-star Brilliant Moon Spear to the point where he could combine 5 spears into one. The 5 spear lights were very confusing, and the attack power was also much stronger than before. This was the effect brought about by the increase in his cultivation. Then, Knight Sorrow went to watch Qin Jun cultivate. Qin Jun was very hard-working in his cultivation. His current energy exertion technique was somewhat similar to Ho Jian's, both of which focused on deflecting and rebounding force. Knight Sorrow went to see Yang Lei, who was giving pointers to her disciples, and then went to the City Lord's mansion. Knight Sorrow asked around in the City Lord's residence, but he could not find the blood-clad guard's 5th squad. No matter who he asked, no one knew. This made Knight Sorrow feel very conflicted. He actually couldn't find his subordinates. Unable to get any answers, Knight Sorrow felt quite helpless. He could only tell the manager of the City Lord's residence that he wanted to meet with the higher-ups and return to his residence. After some thought and asking Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu for their opinions, Knight Sorrow came to a conclusion. Even in the City Lord's mansion, only a limited number of people could come into contact with the Bloodstrike guards. That night, someone came to Knight Sorrow's residence. It was an old man in green robes. Ning Qingfeng led the old man directly to the backyard, where he saw Knight Sorrow, who was cultivating his spear techniques. "I am the City Lord's mansion's guardian elder, Kuan Nan. Today, I heard from the manager that you had some matters to attend to," Kuan Nan said. "Greetings, Elder Kuan. It's like this. I'm the captain of the blood-clad guard's 5th squad, but I can't find them," Knight Sorrow said. "It's like this. In the City Lord's mansion, the blood-clad guard is a secret force that not many people know about. They usually cultivate in the base. Only a few elders know about this," Kuan Nan said. "So that's how it is." Then Knight Sorrow understands. "Originally, I bought 2 mansions and built a practice field to make it more convenient for everyone. It seems that there is no need for that," Knight Sorrow said as he looked at his residence. "It's good that you have such a plan. I will bring them over later," Kuan Nan said. "Thank you, Elder Kuan." Knight Sorrow bowed to Kuan Nan. "There's no need to be polite. I know that you led the 5th squad into battle some time ago. You did very well. In the future, the 5th squad will be stationed here. This will be their second base." Kuan Nan sized up Yishang's residence and said, "That's not a problem. That's what I planned to do when I bought this residence. Brothers can live together and become familiar with each other. In the future, our cooperation will be better," Knight Sorrow said. "All right. I went out today to attend to some other matters. I am usually in the City Lord's mansion in the East Building. If you need anything, you can find me." Kuan Nan nodded to Knight Sorrow and left Knight Sorrow's residence. 13. We didn't consider it enough in the past. Now that I think about it, the 5th squad of the Bloodstrike Guard is definitely the trump card of the City Lord's mansion, Yang Lei said. "I used to know that they were elites, but I didn't expect them to be of such high standards," Knight Sorrow said. "In fact, among the 30 brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard, the oldest is only in his 40s. To be able to cultivate to the peak of the Severed Spirit stage at this age, and some of them have even reached the 5th level, they are all outstanding cultivators," Sikong Chiyu said. Yang Lei, Ho Jian, and the others nodded. This group of young people with high average strength and potential was very difficult to integrate into a team. After all, there are very few people. The next morning, Kuan Nan sent the 30 Bloodstrike guards to Knight Sorrow's residence. He then left after informing the members of the Bloodstrike Guard. "Greetings, Captain." Xueling led the group of Bloodstrike Guards and bowed to Knight Sorrow. "Don't stand on ceremony, everyone. It's like this. I feel that if we're going to fight side by side in the future, we will need to communicate more. That's why I bought 2 mansions." "Xueling, you can arrange for everyone to stay in. There is also a training ground here," Knight Sorrow said. "Understand. Thank you for your concern, Captain." Xueling nodded. "All right, don't stand on ceremony. You know these people. These 2 are also my good brothers. We will fight side by side in the future, so let's get to know each other." Knight Sorrow introduced Ho Qingjie and Qin Jun to the rest of the Bloodstrike Guard. After the arrangements were made, Knight Sorrow went to find Uncle Feng and asked him to pay more attention to the food in the residence. With nothing to do, Knight Sorrow went to Tianji Tower. On the top floor of the Tianji Tower, Knight Sorrow met Yin Shui and Lan Yuxuan. Most are new chapter, Section S, Supra. Knight Sorrow is here. Sit down and have some tea. Lan Yuxuan was not wearing her mask. She looked to be in her mid-30s, but her aura was very strong. Knight Sorrow nodded and sat opposite the 2. "Knight Sorrow, thank you. It was because of your help that we were able to meet Master Wu Quebec." Lan Yuxuan poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow. "It's nothing. I'm just passing on the supervisor's message. By the way, what's the situation with the Nebulous Sect?" Knight Sorrow asked. "The situation is still very serious, but we are able to stabilize it. The only thing is that we are not sure how many venerable dark spiritual corpses there are. The battle is going on every day. Tianji Tower and the governor's mansion did not lose much strength, but the Nebulous Sect has suffered a great loss." Yin Shui said, "Then I will go back and discuss it. If there is no problem, I will go with my brothers later." Knight Sorrow said, "This matter won't end so easily." Yin Shui shook his head. He knew Knight Sorrow quite well, and knew that the incident of Gu family cutting off one of Mr. Gu's arms wouldn't end so easily. Currently, Knight Sorrow was just not powerful enough. "What happened?" Lan Yuxuan asked. Then, Yin Shui told her about Sikong Chiu, Knight Sorrow, and Bamboo Garden Town. They actually attacked ordinary people. "This matter is too serious. No matter who it is, no one will stop. Jiu's family is looking for trouble," Lan Yuxuan said with a sigh. After Knight Sorrow returned to his mansion, he went to a secret room and began to cultivate. However, he kept thinking about whether he should continue to participate in the domain wars. Knight Sorrow could ask for the opinions of Ho Jian, Nan Liue, and the Lei brothers. He could decide whether or not to participate in the domain wars. However, the Bloodstrike Guards couldn't. They were the guards of the City Lord's Mansion. If they wanted to fight, they had to get the City Lord's Mansion's order. Love, go little, say W. Chew this time. Knight Sorrow cultivated for 3 days. He only woke up from his cultivation state after turning the ice spirit blood essence and soul crystals in his hands into useless rocks. Then, while chatting with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, the 2 women gave Knight Sorrow some advice. If it wasn't necessary, he should let Ho Jian and the others cultivate first. After all, everyone's cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds. After thinking about it, Knight Sorrow felt that the 2 women were right. He couldn't drag others into the domain wars just because he wanted to. Ho Jian and Nan Liue hadn't been in the domain wars for long. Their strength was increasing rapidly. Lei Bao and Lei Zheng were trying to break through to the domain wars of the domain wars. They had just eaten the tranquility pill. Ho Qingjie was slower than them, but he had also reached the domain wars of the domain wars. Qin Jun, who had the lowest cultivation, was improving the fastest. During Yu Yangyu's venerable celebration ceremony, he was at the domain wars of the domain wars. Now, he had reached the domain wars of the domain wars and could enter the domain wars of the domain wars at any time. If Knight Sorrow didn't exist, Qin Jun might be the most outstanding young disciple in the Medicine Valley. What made Knight Sorrow gratified was that Ho Jian, Nan Liue, and the others were very enthusiastic about Qin Jun. They didn't reject him because of the difference in cultivation level. They were even willing to feed Qingjun moves and help Qingjun improve his strength. Seeing that everyone else was cultivating, Knight's Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. Original Carrot G. Hertz and I5EOL-V is the Pirate Edition. This was the first time Knight's Sorrow had brewed tea for others while they cultivated. Knight's Sorrow, your qi and blood are getting more and more abundant. The smoke of essence qi has already reached more than 6 zhang *3, 33 m per zhang. It won't be a problem for you to reach the level where the smoke will soar into the clouds. Sikong Chuyu said, your cultivation levels are improving very quickly as well. After stabilizing your cultivation levels, it won't be a problem for you to advance to the domain wars of the domain wars. Once you reach the mid-void inquiry stage, your combat power will be improved. Knight's Sorrow said, the world is chaotic. Wars may break out at any time. Only with strength will you have confidence. Yang Lei said, yes, only with strength will you have confidence. However, it's a little difficult to improve your cultivation level after reaching the void inquiry stage. After all, the energy needed to advance is too great. Knight's Sorrow said, after cultivating in Pill Cauldron Cliff for nearly a month, Knight's Sorrow only managed to increase his cultivation level by 1 level. This made him understand how difficult it was to improve his cultivation level after reaching the void inquiry stage. You should know that other than the bottleneck, there are also some void inquiry stage cultivators who are stuck at the first level for 10 years or even dozens of years due to a lack of resources. There are many such cases in our Medicine Valley. People like us who don't need to consider the problem of resources and can improve our cultivation levels quickly as long as we cultivate are something that others wouldn't even dare to dream of. Yang Lei said. Knight's Sorrow smiled. He knew that the lack of cultivation resources was the problem that all cultivators faced. It was indeed very rare for someone like him who did not need to worry about resources. This was also the reason why all cultivators wanted to join a large sect and squeeze into Tianji Tower. It was because they needed resources. After that, Knight's Sorrow took out the resources that Tianji Tower gave him and had a look. They were the Clear Void Pill and the Great Void Pill. However, the quality of the pills was the same as the ones that Knight's Sorrow concocted. There was no difference between Supreme Grade and Mid-Grade. This was related to the level of a Pill Refinement Master. Pill Refinement Masters could concoct Supreme Grade pills that did not have much pill poison when they concocted low-grade pills. However, it was very difficult for Pill Refinement Masters to concoct Supreme Grade pills like the Clear Void Pill and the Great Void Pill, because the requirements were very strict. Chapter 437. Genius Remembers Love in 1 second / small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Then I'll go get it when I have time. We don't lack 5th rank resources, but we still need the people around us. The most important thing is that they give us high-grade spirit stones. Knight's Sorrow said with a smile. We don't have high expectations for this. Rank determines the treatment. Knight's Sorrow, do you know the concept of a celestial oracle? Sikong Chi looked at Knight's Sorrow and asked, I don't know. I don't know what kind of position it is. Knight's Sorrow shook his head. He still didn't understand the internal situation of Tianji Tower. There are only a few celestial oracles in Tianji Tower. They have a lot of power. It can be said that except for the Tower Master, Deputy Tower Master, Chief Supervisor, Chief Protector, and the Tower Masters in other regions, everyone else is a subordinate. The Celestial Oracles are the representatives of the Tower Master and Deputy Tower Master. Sikong Chuyu said. Knight's Sorrow was stunned. This concept was a bit general, but he understood the general meaning. Except for a limited number of people in power, everyone else was a subordinate. But I don't think they take me seriously. Knight's Sorrow said with a smile. You have the treatment of a celestial oracle now, but you don't have the power because you haven't officially taken up the position. Sikong Chuyu said. Knight's Sorrow nodded. He didn't care about this. He wasn't a fan of power and didn't have any desire for power. Otherwise, he wouldn't have refused to take up the position of young master of Medicine Valley. One must know that Medicine Valley was now one of the 7 superpowers in Eastern Profound Domain. After chatting with the 2 girls for a while, Night Sorrow planned to go out and see Kuan-Nan. He wanted to see what was going on in Broken Cloud Mountain. Night Sorrow stopped when he reached the street. He felt that he was being watched. This was his intuition. When Yishang stopped, a familiar person appeared not far in front of him. Night Sorrow was stunned when he saw this person. He didn't expect to meet such a familiar person here. It was the blacksmith uncle who gave him the sky-piercing spear. Why are you surprised? Let's find a place to treat this uncle to a drink. A sloppy-looking blacksmith with a pair of tattered leather shoes said. All right. If Night Sorrow still didn't know that this blacksmith wasn't simple, then he would be a fool. Finding a restaurant, Night Sorrow asked for a private room. He took out a jar of green carrot leopard bone wine and poured a bowl for the blacksmith. I know you have a lot of questions, but I can't tell you too much. It's already against the rules to look for you today, the blacksmith said after taking a sip of wine. Night Sorrow nodded. All right, uncle, please speak. This junior will listen. Someone wants to kill you. The news came from the Qingtian region. The Assassin Hall of the Eastern Xian region has rejected this mission. However, there will still be people who will carry out this mission. So, you have to be careful. The blacksmith drank another bowl of wine and said, Thank you for your advice, senior. Night Sorrow stood up and bowed to the blacksmith. It's nothing. I just don't want to see anything happen to you. It's fine as long as you know. The blacksmith stood up and glanced at Night Sorrow. Then, he stood up and left the restaurant. When he left, he even held the jar of wine in his hand. Night Sorrow took out another jar of wine and poured half a bowl for himself. He thought as he tasted the wine. At this moment, he understood that this blacksmith uncle was most likely a member of the Assassin Hall, one of the top forces in the Eastern Xian city. Night Sorrow couldn't understand why someone from another region would give him a mission to kill him. He hadn't even left the Eastern Xian region. If he had a grudge, it would be with the Sikong family and Jiyu family of the Qingtian region. However, if he had a grudge with them, he would be the one taking revenge. Why would they want to kill him? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he should wait for the opinions of Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. Perhaps he could come up with some other ideas. After leaving the restaurant, Night Sorrow went to the city lord's mansion and met with Elder Kuan-Nan. Night Sorrow asked about the situation at the Broken Cloud Mountain of the Star Cloud sect. I heard that they were blocking the entrance of the spatial tunnel. They caught a dark spirit corpse and killed it. However, after one of the dark spirit corpses was killed, they became smarter. They didn't give us a chance to surround and kill them. They fought with us at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. If they couldn't win, they would retreat. Kuan-Nan said, These bastards are quite smart. Night Sorrow was a little dissatisfied that they only killed one dark spirit corpse. Why JT-74 version 1-inch their intelligence is indeed high. However, they can't do anything for now. Our people have killed most of the dark spirit corpses. Only a small portion of them are roaming around the area. Kuan-Nan said, Then it's not a big problem. Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease. No, the problem now is big. Previously, when Elder Dai Tianxiang and Elder Lei blocked the entrance of the spatial tunnel and were about to kill a dark spirit corpse, a large hand reached out from the spatial tunnel and forced Elder Lei and Elder Dai to retreat. Although it was unexpected, we can still guess that there was a strong person inside the spatial tunnel. Kuan-Nan said, How could that be? Night Sorrow's body trembled. Attacking through the spatial tunnel was a heaven-defying method. After analyzing it, we found that the fellow was strong. However, it was still far from our city lord's level. That spatial tunnel didn't reject the death energy, so it didn't affect its attack. It was completely different from the city lord's ability to catch a half-step venerable from the spatial tunnel. Kuan-Nan said, That's good. Do you need me to lead the Bloodstrike Guard in a battle? Night Sorrow asked, breathing a sigh of relief. The Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 that you lead is currently at a stage where its potential is rising. Using actual combat to train is the best way to cultivate. You can make the decision yourself. This is the City Lord's will. The resources of the Blood Strike Guard Squad 5 are provided by the City Lord's Mansion, but the City Lord's Mansion won't participate in other aspects. You can make the decision on your own. Knight Sorrow nodded. I understand. I'll ask the Blood Strike Guard brothers for their opinions. Don't worry about that. The Blood Strike Guard Squad 5 has expressed their willingness to follow you. They will follow your decision. Kuan-Nin nodded. Knight Sorrow then left the City Lord's Mansion. The brothers of the Blood Strike Guard Squad 5 were willing to follow him. Knight Sorrow didn't say anything. He was very touched. This was the trust of brothers. When he returned to the mansion, Yi Shang saw the Blood Strike Guard sparring and cultivating their battle skills. Yang Lei was also training with her disciples. Knight Sorrow waved at Yang Lei. Yang Lei informed Jiang Ziming and went to Knight Sorrow's side. Sikong Chiyu had also brewed a pot of tea. What's wrong? Did something happen? Yang Lei asked. Things are a little troublesome. Someone from the assassination hall has placed a bounty on me. Knight Sorrow explained the details to Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. There's no one else besides the Jiyu family. It seems like they have infiltrated the Eastern Xian region. However, they don't have much power. They can only obtain information, but they can't do anything about it. That's why they asked the assassination hall to take action. Sikong Chuyu's face was filled with anger. She knew that this was the trouble she had brought to Knight Sorrow. Don't worry, I'm already prepared. They won't succeed so easily, Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 438. Genius 1. Second, remember love, divided by a little. Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. Knight Sorrow then went to the City Lord's manor and told Kuan-Nin about the matter. Love go little say W Chu, how audacious. You're a law enforcer of the City Lord's manor. They actually dared to put a bounty on you. You don't have to worry about this. I'll deal with it. Kuan-Nin was furious when he heard Knight Sorrow's words. Elder Kuan, it's nothing. You're just helping me investigate. If anyone from the Qingtian region comes, just let me know. If they dare to come, I won't kill them, but I'll definitely kill them, said Yishan. I know. Kuan-Nin nodded at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow left the City Lord's manor and returned to his own residence. Kuan-Nin thought for a moment, then left the City Lord's manor and went to the mountain where Wu Lingfei was cultivating. What's wrong? Broken Cloud Mountain can't hold on anymore? Wu Lingfei opened her eyes and looked at Kuan-Nin. It's not about Broken Cloud Mountain. It's about Knight Sorrow. Kuan-Nin bowed. Knight Sorrow? What happened to Knight Sorrow? Wu Lingfei stood up. It's the Hall of Assassins. They accepted the mission to kill Knight Sorrow. The Hall of Assassins in the Eastern Xian region refused to carry out the mission, but there are still people who can carry out the mission. Kuan-Nin told her the purpose of his visit. How audacious! Wu Lingfei's body flashed, and she left the mountain. Seeing Wu Lingfei's figure disappear, Kuan-Nin hurriedly flew toward Dongxin City. Soon, Wu Lingfei stood in front of the Hall of Assassins Pavilion. With a wave of her hand, she shattered the lintel of the Hall of Assassins along with the main door. No need to hide. Get out here! Wu Lingfei roared after shattering the lintel of the Hall of Assassins Pavilion. Following Wu Lingfei's words, a few people dressed in different clothes appeared. The one in the lead was a merchant. Greetings, Lord Quebec. The old merchant bowed to the golden-masked Wu Lingfei. The Hall of Assassins can now accept missions to kill the core members of the Eastern Xian region's Tianji Tower? Wu Lingfei asked coldly. Lord K, please calm down. I will go and investigate the situation. The old merchant's eyes were filled with shock. Wu Lingfei's aura. He couldn't circulate the energy in his body. I'll tell you now, if this mission continues, I'll go to the 9 regions and 18 prefectures and wipe out all the members of your assassination hall. Don't doubt my ability. You can't make the decision, so just send my words back to the headquarters. Tell your hall master that this is my will. I used to be called the Golden Phoenix. Wu Lingfei waved her arm again, and the top floor of the assassination hall was blown away. I will pass the message to the headquarters. The fat merchant, who was the person in charge of the Hall of Assassins, bowed again. Also, Bring the information of the next Hall of Assassins to Tianji Tower. Don't talk to me about the rules of the Hall of Assassins. In my eyes, my fists are the rules. Wu Lingfei's voice wasn't loud, but it was absolutely domineering. At this time, Kuan Nin arrived, followed by a group of black iron guards. Lord, Kuan Nin bowed to Wu Lingfei. Clean up. After saying these two words, Wu Lingfei's body flashed and left the Hall of Assassins. Elder Protector. The fat merchant wiped the sweat from his forehead. Elder Mu, you didn't do the right thing this time. Kuan Nin said. Elder Protector, this way please. Mu Sha said. The Hall of Assassins was very strong, but that was only relative. They were inferior to the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower. Mu Sha led Kuan Nin across the dilapidated building to the backyard of the Hall of Assassins. Elder Protector, what's going on? Mu Sha said with some hesitation. Your Hall of Assassins has a mission to hunt down Night Sorrow, right? You should have investigated. With his excellent qualifications, do you think his position in Tianji Tower is low? He's definitely a core member. Also, to tell you the truth, he's also a guard of the City Lord's mansion. Kuan Nin sat down and said, We were really foolish this time. Elder Kuan, you know that we can investigate some information, but we don't interfere with the Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion. So there are some things that we don't know. I found out that he contributed a lot to the Eastern Xian region on the Island of Darkness, so I refused to carry out the mission. Mu Sha said, It's because you refused the mission that you are safe. Now you can only do as the Lord says. Pass the message to the headquarters. I believe they will make a decision. Kuan Nin said to Mu Sha. His attitude was very good. It wasn't the first time he met Mu Sha, and they had some friendship. Okay, almost got into big trouble. I, Mu Sha, know about Lord Golden Phoenix. I didn't expect to see Lord Golden Phoenix under such circumstances. Mu Sha said with a bitter smile. Kuan Nin then left the Hall of Assassins. He knew that as long as Wu Ling concubine's name reached the Hall of Assassins, this matter would come to an end. You bastards, come over here. Mu Sha shouted at the blacksmith's sister Luo and another man who were standing at the side. GL starter. No need to ask. I'm the one who informed Night Sorrow. We know about his growth, and he has done nothing wrong. Besides, he often treats me to drinks, so I don't want to see him get killed. The blacksmith kicked off his bee-skin shoes and walked a few steps away. Then you know about the situation. Why didn't you say anything? We can communicate with the headquarters and ask them to give up the mission. There's nothing wrong with that. If Lord Golden Phoenix is angry, the consequences will be uncontrollable. Mu Sha glared at the blacksmith and said, Why are you glaring at me? I'm just a blacksmith. I can do whatever I want. Tell the higher-ups to punish me? Do assassins have no principles? The blacksmith looked at Mu Sha and said, Bastard, luckily you're the one who informed us. Otherwise, if something happened, we wouldn't be able to escape. Lord Golden Phoenix. She's a big shot who has killed countless venerables. We're just ants in front of her. Mu Sha said with some emotion. Is she very famous? The other middle-aged man asked. She's very strong. You can say that she's the pride of the Eastern Xian region. Although I'm not from the Eastern Xian region, I still admire her. Even the top members of our assassin hall have been defeated by her. Many years ago, she also defeated the high-level venerables of the other regions in the domain war and established herself as an invincible venerable. She also protected the peace of the Eastern Xian region, said Mu Sha. According to what you said, she's not just talking about going to the 9 regions and 18 states to destroy our Hall of Assassins. Sister Luo said with some surprise. Isn't that nonsense? She doesn't have the confidence to destroy our reputation. We'll know when the news comes. The headquarters will definitely give in. Mu Sha said with a bitter smile. Chapter 439. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. We've really gone too far this time. Some people are taboo. Our assassination hall doesn't have the upper hand when it comes to individual battle prowess. We're even worse off when it comes to the power behind us. Mu Sha opened his mouth and said. That's right, Mu Sha said. They even accepted the mission to kill a child. I wonder which brainless person decided to accept the mission. The blacksmith snorted coldly because he was very dissatisfied. Blacksmith, I still don't understand. What does that little guy have to do with you? Musha was a little puzzled. How did Blacksmith get involved in this matter? We've seen him twice. We've been looking for materials to forge the sky-piercing spear for many years, and the blacksmith only gave him 12 spears. Sir, do you think the blacksmith likes him? Sister Luo glanced at the blacksmith and asked, Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao, say www.ai2xs. Comp, blacksmith, I won't argue with you this time. But if something like this happens again in the future, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. Isn't it better to discuss things with everyone? The problem has to be solved from the root. Can you solve the problem by leaking information? Find someone to fix this place, you bastard. Musha glared at the blacksmith again, then left in a flash. He planned to personally report this matter to the headquarters. That damn fatty. At least he's done something this time, the blacksmith said as he looked in the direction that Musha had left. Big brother, the one with the bounty on his head, is the child you sent the sky-piercing spear to? Another middle-aged man asked. Love go little say, big brother, I didn't make a mistake. Back then, he was just a little fellow who had just entered the second order. What about now? Second grade void inquiry stage. Ha! The blacksmith's face was filled with pride. Second grade of the void inquiry stage? I remember it was only 2 years ago when we first met him, right? Sister Luo's eyes were filled with shock. That's right. He's definitely a good seedling for our Eastern Xian region. So, even if we have to violate the rules, we can't let people from other regions kill him. The blacksmith nodded. All right. At that time, I was dissatisfied with Big Brother giving away the sky-piercing spear. However, after killing the evil flood dragon, the sky-piercing spear was no longer important to us. The middle-aged man looked at the blacksmith and said, Yes, each of us only needs 2 sky-piercing spears to protect ourselves. Why do we need so many? Come, there's still a jar of good wine here. Let's drink it, and then find someone to repair this place. I have to say, the master of Tianji Tower is really awesome. The blacksmith took out a jar of Qingluo leopard bone wine given to him by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who was practicing his spear arts in the mansion, suddenly stopped. This was because he saw Wu Ling Fei, who was wearing a golden mask, a tight skirt, and a gauze robe. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao, say www.ai2xs. Come, Ani Fei, why are you here? Night Sorrow greeted her. Bring me in. Wu Ling Fei raised her chin and pointed at Night Sorrow's loft. Night Sorrow brought Wu Ling Fei into the study room that he rarely entered. Then, he took out a tea set and brewed a pot of tea for Wu Ling Fei. Your mansion is not bad. The scenery and style are all okay, Wu Ling Fei said after taking off her mask and taking a sip of tea. There are extra lofts here. Ani Fei can live and cultivate here, Night Sorrow said. Thinking about it, Ani Fei is really not as good as you. Because in Dongxian City, I can only go to the Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion. I don't have a place to stay. Wu Ling Fei suddenly sighed. Ani Fei, actually, a home is only a place where there are relatives. A home is not an empty house. I will tidy up the innermost and quiet loft for you in a moment, Yi Shang said. After the 3 mansions were connected, the craftsman built a viewing tower in the innermost part of the mansion on the left, which was a little far from Night Sorrow's. The loft was shrouded in green bamboo, and the scenery and style were not bad. Okay, but Ani Fei likes to be quiet. Don't let others near that place. Also, when Ani Fei cultivates, sometimes it will cause the laws to vibrate and hurt people. Wu Ling Fei nodded after thinking for a while. Then I will take Ani Fei there. Night Sorrow stood up and said. Night Sorrow took Wu Ling Fei to the viewing tower and helped her settle down. There's one more thing. Your girlfriend's water attribute isn't normal. She has the sky blue water and the black profound water. She has the sky blue water attribute. This kind of extreme water attribute is very rare. It can even be said that it won't be suppressed by 4 high-level attributes. She might not have noticed it yet. Wu Lingfei said. She was referring to Sikong Chuyu. Ani Fei, you know that I don't know much about these things. When I have time, I will ask Chuyu to come and ask Ani Fei for advice. Night Sorrow said, a little embarrassed. Indeed, telling you this is a waste of time. Let her come over at night. Ani Fei will tell her that this kind of potential is very rare and cannot be buried. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She suddenly felt that she had treated Night Sorrow as a cultivator for many years. In fact, Night Sorrow was just a child. It could be said that he was a cultivation newbie. Why did Ani Fei come to Dongxian City? Is there any progress in breaking through? Night Sorrow asked. 0 positive. Version B * release. Almost there, but there is no rush. Who knows? Maybe a flash of inspiration will be enough. Why did you come? You have a bounty on your head. How can Ani Fei not come and take a look? Wu Lingfei said. They won't send a venerable to kill me. Other ranks, even late 5th order, I still have a chance to escape. Night Sorrow said. Ani Fei has already dealt with this matter. The Eastern Xian region branch of the Assassination Hall will report to the higher-ups and resolve this matter. However, there's a time difference. In other words, by the time they report, the assassins might have already been dispatched. Wu Lingfei said. In fact, this was the main reason why she had stayed in Night Sorrow's residence. I made Ani Fei worry again. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's fine. You go do your thing. Just let your girlfriend come and find Ani Fei. Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow arrived at Sikong Chuyu's pavilion, he saw Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei sitting together, studying something. The two women didn't notice Night Sorrow's arrival and continued to read. Night Sorrow walked over and saw what the two women were reading. It was the harmony cultivation technique he had obtained while completing a mission. Back then, Night Sorrow had obtained the harmony cultivation technique after killing 2 women who plucked Yin to supplement Yang. At that time, he had given it to Yang Lei. You're reading this too? Night Sorrow asked after sitting down. Why did you sneak in here? Yang Lei embarrassedly put the ancient book into her storage ring. I swaggered in. You two were too engrossed and didn't see me. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, don't think too much. This ancient book is good for the 3 of us. Back then, those 2 women walked the crooked path. Yang Lei explained with a red face. Chapter 440. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with interesting novels to read. After asking Sikong Chuyu to meet Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow informed everyone in the mansion that the small bamboo forest and the viewing tower at the northwest corner of the mansion were forbidden from entering. Even though everyone did not understand why Night Sorrow would give such a notice, they knew that there was a reason behind it. After informing everyone, Night Sorrow returned to his secret cultivation room. He took out the ice spirit blood essence and soul crystals and began to cultivate. In the next few days, Yishan steadily increased his cultivation. He didn't know that a great storm had occurred in Dongxian City. No one had ever dared to provoke the Deathly Hall, but now someone had destroyed their facade. This was a strange story. Soon after, a few foolish cultivators who did not know what was going on went to the entrance of the Assassination Hall and pointed at them. In the end, they ended up in a miserable state. They were directly crippled and hung in front of the pavilion that was being renovated. This also let all the cultivators know that no matter what the Assassination Hall had experienced, they still could not be provoked casually. Night Sorrow's cultivation base increased at a relatively slow pace, even though he used the spiritual origin liquid. It was because the amount of energy needed to advance to the void inquiry stage was really too much. On this day, after finishing dinner and everyone went to cultivate, Night Sorrow went to the small training ground in front of the main building to practice his spear techniques. After cultivating for a while, just as Night Sorrow was about to go to the secret cultivation room to cultivate his foundation, he felt a chill on his body. He had a feeling that he was being stared at by a poisonous snake. Turning his head to look, Night Sorrow saw a masked man in the shadow of the garden. At this moment, The masked man, who knew that Night Sorrow had discovered him, walked out from the shadow. Without saying anything, he shook his arm and brandished his sword, sending out a ray of sword light towards Night Sorrow. Looking at the 4-chi-long sword light flying towards him, Night Sorrow took a step diagonally and dashed forward. He shook his reincarnation spear and executed the 7 stars dazzling moon spear. The 5 spears merged into one and pierced towards the masked man. Seeing Night Sorrow attack, the masked man's body flashed, and he continued to attack Night Sorrow with his sword. The position of his sword was very tricky. It was aimed at Night Sorrow's ribs, which would be the heart. He didn't fight head-on, nor did he fight head-on. Instead, he pursued a one-hit kill. Night Sorrow immediately understood what was going on with this masked man. He was an assassin on a mission. Although he could not see through his opponent's cultivation base, Night Sorrow was not afraid. This was the kind of battle he wanted. Only a battle of life and death like this could increase his combat power and stimulate his potential. His opponent's attacks were tricky. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was the opposite of his opponent's. This was also Night Sorrow's confidence in the strength of his attacks. The masked man's dodging and attacking speed were both very fast. He did not fight Night Sorrow head-on, and instead wandered around looking for Night Sorrow's flaws. However, Night Sorrow's current spear art was not perfect, but it was very skillful. With the addition of the soaring dragon steps, there were no flaws. After circling around a few times, the masked man discovered that Night Sorrow's defense was unbreakable. He changed his approach and drew a semicircle with his sword before thrusting forward. Since he could not find any flaws in Night Sorrow's defense, he planned to create a flaw for Night Sorrow himself. He and Night Sorrow did not notice that at this moment, at the top of the main building where Night Sorrow lived, Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a white dress, was standing in the air with her hands behind her back. She was watching the battle between Night Sorrow and the masked man. Ding! With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow was pushed back. His opponent's cultivation base was much higher than his, and his true chi was much more abundant. On the other hand, the masked man's energy was like a needle, piercing towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Only when the reincarnation spear was more than halfway through did Night Sorrow's true chi dissipated. After Night Sorrow was pushed back, his opponent also felt uncomfortable. Night Sorrow's spiraling energy penetrated into his opponent's sword. After being pushed back, Night Sorrow stomped his feet and dashed forward. His true chi needed time to slow down and buffer. However, Night Sorrow had the energy of the Myriad Tao treasure book. When he dashed forward, the energy in his body followed along. Seeing Night Sorrow dashing towards him, the masked man was stunned for a moment. Then, he casually waved his sword towards Night Sorrow. Even though he lost to Night Sorrow in terms of energy exertion, he understood that Night Sorrow would not have it easy either. After all, his cultivation base was 4 levels higher than Night Sorrow's. He was already at the 5th level of the Void Inquiry stage. Buzz, their weapons clashed. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear released a strong vibration force. After that, the two of them separated again. This time, Night Sorrow gained the upper hand. The energy of his Myriad Tao treasure book and the strength of his body surpassed the strength of the true chi that the masked man hurriedly gathered. In addition, the vibration force also dispersed the impact of his opponent's energy exertion technique. After gaining the upper hand in one move, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear and chased after his opponent. After every clash, his opponent's true chi needed a buffer. Even though the buffer time was very short, Night Sorrow did not need it. His true chi and the energy of the Myriad Tao treasure book alternately attacked. In terms of speed, he was much faster than his opponent. Seeing Night Sorrow dashing towards him again, the masked man let out a low roar. He stomped his feet and his body moved swiftly. Since he could not gain the upper hand in a head-on clash, he began to move around. At this moment, Night Sorrow was chasing after the masked man. However, Night Sorrow's speed was still slower than his opponent's. Night Sorrow also used the energy of the Myriad Dao treasure book to increase his speed. However, the masked man's movement technique was very agile. He could not stop him. "I will kill you another day. Your life is mine." When he saw Ho Jian and the others, as well as the Bloodstrike guards, rushing towards the training ground, the masked man's feet trembled and his body soared into the air. "If you want to fight, I can watch. However, you can't run." Wu Lingfei waved her arm, and a large energy hand grabbed the masked man. 9. Look at the authentic version. Chapter F. Above, who are you? How dare you interfere with the matters of the assassination hall? You are courting death. The masked man roared at Wu Lingfei. "Even your hall master would not speak to me like this. Killing you here will only dirty the mansion. Go outside and die." Wu Lingfei snorted, and the energy hand flew towards the sky outside the mansion. When it reached the outside, the energy hand squeezed, and the masked man turned into a bloody mist. Then, a storage ring flew back to the mansion and fell in front of Night Sorrow. Then, Wu Lingfei's figure disappeared. At this time, Ho Jian and the others arrived at Night Sorrow's side. They only saw the energy hand and did not see Wu Lingfei. "Captain, what happened?" Ho Jian asked when he arrived at Night Sorrow's side. "An assassin came to kill me, but he was killed," Night Sorrow said as he held the storage ring. "Someone came to kill you? Are they tired of living?" "Captain, do you have any clues?" "Let's go and destroy them," Shuai Ling said angrily. "This is really unfair. Someone placed a bounty on the assassination hall. I can only be careful. It won't be easy to completely destroy them," Night Sorrow said. "The assassination hall? A few days ago, the assassination hall's front was destroyed. How dare they do this now?" Ho Jian said. "The assassination hall's front was destroyed? Who could be so cruel?" Nan Liyue asked. "I don't know." The assassination hall did not respond. However, a few unlucky people who mocked the assassination hall were killed, Lei Bao said. "You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.